Rentaro is a bum uglier than your grandma's left toe, which gets him rejected by 100 different girls. However, his life changes when the god of love pities him and gives him 100 girlfriends, but he has to clap them all or they will die.
Come with me to my bedroom.
It was the day of his graduation, but before ending the school year, Rentaro confessed his feelings to a girl he had always liked, hoping to get some cheeks right after. However, the girl rejects him, saying that his risless existence is not good enough for her, leaving him rejected. Later, Rentaro visits the shrine to pray to the god of love, begging him to get him someone to love. To his shock, the god of love pops up, which scares him. After calming down, the god informs him that he will soon meet his soulmate, but Rentaro struggles to believe that much that he turns into a ghoul. The god explains that when he meets his soulmate, both his and the girl's body will feel a shock, and they will fall head over heels for each other. However, to Rentaro's surprise, the god informs him that he will have 100 soulmates in total. But while Rentaro believes that, he threatens to burn the shrine if the god lies. A month later, Rentaro starts his first day of school and accidentally runs into 2 hot bombshells. But in that moment, all 3 of them feel a shock inside of them, and the girls fall for Rentaro. He realizes that the 2 girls are his soulmates, and when Rentaro tries to help them out, the busty one, Hakari, pretends that she twisted his ankle and needs Rentaro to lift her up. Rentaro starts crying, realizing that he hurt one of his soulmates, and Hakari screams out of love, seeing how much he cares for someone he just met. The feistier one, Karen, refuses to get left behind and also tells Rentaro that she's in pain. Rentaro starts beating him up out of guilt, and the girls quickly get up to stop him. But when Rentaro realizes they're okay, they quickly get back down, pretending they're in pain. On their way to the infirmary, both girls refuse to let go of Rentaro like they're cicadas, and Rentaro feels like the luckiest pole in the world. Just then, students walk by and they talk about how in that school, there's a superstition that states that if someone were to ask someone out with a 4-leaf clover in the school's backyard, they will definitely be lovers. When the girls hear that, they quickly run off to get a 4-leaf clover. After school, Rentaro gets stuck helping a teacher find his contact lenses, and he finds both girls in the courtyard hunting for a 4-leaf clover. Realizing that they're looking for his sake, he goes to help them. He first meets Karen and brings her a drink. She gets flustered by his gesture and accepts it while calling him a limp willy loser, which makes him realize that Karen is a tsundere. However, she thanks him for the drink and quickly runs away. Just then, Hakari pops up, asking Rentaro why he's there. Rentaro hands her the drink he bought her, but instead of accepting it straight, she devises a devious plan of getting an indirect kiss from him. She asks him to drink half of it, saying that she can't finish the whole can, and Rentaro agrees to drink it. When it's Hakari's turn to drink, she gets too excited for the indirect kiss, which ends with her spilling the drink everywhere like an imbecile. She gets depressed at her spilled drink, and Rentaro offers his handkerchief for her to clean her skirt. It completely pulls Hakari's heartstrings to see someone so kind to her, and she professes her love to Rentaro, telling him that she wants him to date her. Rentaro starts crying out of happiness. But in that moment, Karen pops up in agony, seeing Hakari taking Rentaro away from her. She gets furious at Hakari, and Hakari calls her out for also liking Rentaro. Karen initially tries to pretend that she has no feelings for Rentaro, but when she realizes that she has no choice, she admits that she loves Rentaro and wants his babies. With both girls professing their feelings, they demand that Rentaro make his choice, but he's unable to pick between them. That night, Rentaro visits the shrine to find guidance and asks the god what other people do when they have multiple soulmates. The god of love shamefully admits that other people only has one soulmate and that during his birth, he made a mistake, as when he was busy watching a Johnny Sins movie, he accidentally put down how much he creamed as the amount of Rentaro's soulmate.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
However, the god of love also informs Rentaro that if a soulmate doesn't get together with the one they love, they will die, which puts Rentaro in a tough spot. On his way home, he gets an idea that he should date both girls individually behind them, but he quickly punches himself. He knows best how difficult it is to profess his love towards someone, so he refuses to treat their love half-heartedly. The next morning, Rentaro shows up to the girls, looking horrible, and with full conviction, he asks both girls to be his girlfriends. Karen gets angry, refusing to be two-timed, but Rentaro tells her that he couldn't decide. He promises to make both of them the happiest girls alive, and to show that he's serious, he presents them a 4-leaf clover for each of them, revealing that he spent the whole morning looking for them. He expresses how he believes that both girls would appreciate his romantic gesture, especially since they both desperately tried to get their hands on the clovers before. It rizzes up both girls, and because of her love for him, Hikari states that she doesn't mind being two-timed by Rintaro, as she is hopelessly in love with him and couldn't imagine loving someone else. After hearing that, Karen refuses to be left behind and asks to be his lover as well. Rintaro promises to make them the happiest girls alive, and it marks the start of Rintaro's harem journey.
Let's go!
The next morning, Rintaro is overjoyed after getting himself 2 baddies to clap, and he tells all about it to a lucky pole for some reason. When the girls show up, Karen asks him why he was talking to a pole, and he rizzes her up, saying that he's very happy to be dating them. Just then, Hikari has the idea to hold his hand, and she does it, wanting to feel how muscular his hand is, almost causing her to cream.
What?
Rintaro takes Karen's hand as well, so she won't get left behind, and while she acts tough on the outside, on the inside, her sprinklers are on. They walk together to school, all jolly and happy, and they see a student getting chased by an old hag faster than Usain Bolt. Hikari informs them that the old prune is the vice principal, who was once a track athlete, and is known to chase down students who are caught running in the halls, and she punishes them by giving them a sloppy French kiss, one that would make degenerates like you bust your caps. Hikari asks Rintaro if he had kissed someone, and when he reveals that he hasn't, both girls want to be his first kiss. During lunchtime, Hikari draws first blood and offers Rintaro her homemade omelet. When he takes a bite, he expresses how delicious it tastes, and Karen gets jealous. She quickly shares her homemade cookies, and she gives them to him so aggressively, it ends up almost blinding him, but after eating them, he praises her for them as well. Hikari counters by offering him to eat Pocky, but reveals that they can't use their hands to eat them. So, she takes her chance to feed Rintaro mouth to mouth. She starts eating like a squirrel, getting closer to taste Rintaro's lips, but Karen acts quickly and uses a Pocky to blind his other eye. Seeing his red eyes, Karen makes an excuse saying that he has a fever, and pulls him in to kiss her so she can take away his disease. In that moment, Hikari hits her with her milk bags to stop her, leaving Karen in awe at how soft they are. Hikari goes to kiss Rintaro to take his temperature, and Karen separates them so she can get Rintaro's kiss. Again, Hikari smacks her with her melons, and both girls end up in a standoff. In that moment, Rintaro realizes that both girls want to kiss him and confronts them about it. They admit that they do and are unable to decide who gets the first go, but Rintaro assures them that he has a plan for it. He explains how they can devise a kiss between them where one girl gets the kiss, but neither of them knows who actually got it. The plan uses dice, eye masks, and music players, which will help them navigate when Rintaro gets to kiss one of them, without him knowing who he's kissing, and which girl gets his scrumptious lips. He believes that his plan will leave all 3 of them happy and satisfied, and to ensure none of them cheats, he makes them a pinky promise that he will gobble his own glizzy if he lies. However, in the first attempts, Rintaro accidentally has his hands on some exquisite jiggle physics and realizes that it's Hikari, which ruins his plan. Hikari tells him that he can go further, but he decides to be a man of his word and asks the girls to start over. In the second attempt, before Rintaro even does anything, a cultured cat notices a smell of fish coming from Karen and wastes no time getting her clam. It completely sends Karen the wrong message, thinking that Rintaro wants some seafood, and she beats him up badly for almost making her cream. They restart again with each attempt failing even worse than the one before, and it leaves them completely defeated. With tension being high, Karen and Hikari start fighting over whose fault it is, and Rintaro can't stand seeing his 2 baddies fight. He deems it his fault for not already having his first kiss, so out of desperation, he runs away down the school halls, summoning the old prune to come get him. He purposefully decides to get his first kiss from her to avoid jealousy between the 2 girls, but before the vice principal gets to kiss Rintaro, Karen shows up to pull her back. Then, Hikari screams out how the school inspector is coming, scaring off the vice principal, who refuses to lose a job where she gets to kiss hot dudes. After the situation calms down, Rintaro expresses how he doesn't want his 2 girlfriends fighting, so he prefers to get a kiss from the old hag instead to avoid them fighting. However, both girls declare that they would rather see Rintaro kiss the other instead of throwing away his first kiss like that. After seeing the two supporting each other, Rintaro embraces them both, which makes them happy, and suggests a new idea. Back on the rooftop, he suggests that all three of them kiss each other at the same time. And while the girls initially gets flustered over the idea of kissing another girl, they are willing to give it a try out of their love for Rintaro. Then, both girls kiss Rintaro and finally manage to claim that they both got Rintaro's first kiss. The next day, they go to the library to look for recipe books, as both girls want to learn how to cook for Rintaro. While there, Rintaro has an interest in a certain book, but when he's about to take it, he accidentally touches the girl's hand, and when they look at each other, they make a connection, making her another one of Rintaro's soulmates. In the girl's mind, she imagines herself as a princess, one who lives in solitude, with no hope of escape. But with Rintaro standing beside her, she begins to feel something change. The spark of connection between them is electric, and feeling startled, the girl backs away from the book she was reaching for and tells Rintaro to get it instead. But Rintaro gently encourages her to take it for herself. The girl communicates with him by writing in her book, and Rintaro quickly picks up on what she's saying. He realizes that the girl is the librarian here, and because the library is her domain, she is unable to speak aloud. She gestures, as if trying to find someone else who could help Rintaro find the book he's looking for, but Rintaro stops her, as he wants her help directly. He asks for a recommendation, a romance novel, one where the characters must overcome hardships in order to live happily ever after. The girl nods in understanding. She disappears for a moment and then returns with a towering stack of books. Rintaro gets surprised, and the girl, a bit embarrassed, apologizes for being a nuisance. But Rintaro smiles, as after seeing how kind she's been to him, he decides he wants to borrow the whole books she recommended for him. However, to Rintaro's disappointment, the front desk delivers bad news that creating a library account takes a full week. Rintaro walks away, disheartened by what feels like rejection. Watching him go, the girl feels guilty and hands him her personal copy of a book about love. Then, for the first time, she tells him her name, Shizuka, and reveals they're actually classmates. That night, Rintaro starts reading the book Shizuka lent him. The story follows a knight who falls in love with a princess. The two face countless trials together, almost costing their lives, but one day, the princess leaves for a distant place. The knight chases after her, refusing to let her go. Rintaro gets pulled into the story, almost crying like a wimp while reading, but only to discover it ends on a cliffhanger, which is continued in Volume 2. One line in particular stands out to him that fate can't be defined. It reminds him of something the god of love once told him. The next day, Rintaro approaches Shizuka in class. He returns the book and notices Volume 2 peeking out from her bag. He tells her how amazing the first volume was and asks to borrow the next one. Shizuka smiles and hands it over. Wanting to repay her kindness, Rintaro buys her a drink from a vending machine. They sit together in the school park. There, they talk about the book and a little about Shizuka herself. She tells him that she's always communicated through her book and that she's never had any real friends. Then she shyly asks him not to shun her, because to her, he's special. Rintaro reassures her that he never would. He's amazed that Shizuka remembers every line of dialogue from the book. This time, he decides to borrow Volume 1 again and smiles warmly at her. Shizuka starts to develop feelings for Rintaro. From that day on, she seems brighter, more energetic, something even the head librarian notices. Curious, the librarian questions her, but Shizuka brushes it off. For the next 3 days, Shizuka brings Volume 3 to the usual meeting spot, but Rintaro doesn't show. Eventually, she goes to the school park and finds him sitting with Hakari and Karen. Karen gives him a kiss on the cheek because he looks drowsy, while Hakari playfully headbutts him to wake him up. Rintaro laughs and hugs them both, feeling grateful to have them in his life. From a distance, Shizuka watches in pain, seeing her baby daddy with two hotties. She's reminded of her childhood, where she was used to getting bullied for always talking to her book instead of with people, and even her own mother threatened to disown her for it. Her chest tightens, and she grows sad, believing that no one will ever want to talk to someone like her. She returns to the library and quietly waits behind the desk, hoping someone, anyone, will need her. Then, to her surprise, Rintaro shows up. Rintaro tells her that he hasn't forgotten about her. He sits beside her and asks her to take out her smartphone. She does, and he walks her through downloading an app. Then, he sends her a file, calling it a gift. Shizuka opens the file and is stunned when she sees that inside is the entire first volume of the book she lent him, fully transcribed. Rintaro explains that he stayed up all night typing it out by hand and that the app is a text-to-speech tool. Now, she can click on any dialogue, and the app will speak the words aloud for her. Deeply moved, Shizuka tries it. She selects a line saying that she loves him. Rintaro is caught off guard. He asks what she means, so she clicks more dialogue as she doesn't need an answer, and she just wants him to know how she feels. A single tear rolls down her cheek. Rintaro gently hugs her and tells her that he loves her too. The next day, Rintaro meets with Hikari and Karen. He asks for their permission to let Shizuka become his newest girlfriend, and Karen explodes in disbelief, calling him selfish. But Hikari blushes, as she finds it sweet that Rintaro isn't leaving them, but is instead asking for their blessing. Rintaro thanks them for being understanding and promises to show, not just tell, that he'll work harder to be a better boyfriend. He swears he'll never hurt them. Then he jokes about men who mistreat women, saying they don't deserve love at all. Both girls are impressed by how serious and surprisingly mature he's become. They begin to praise him, saying he's changed for the better. Meanwhile, Shizuka stands beside Rintaro, nervous and shy, still processing everything he's just said. Rintaro, now dating 3 girls with 0 dating experience, still has 97 more girls waiting for him. On the school rooftop, the harem gather to have lunch together. Rintaro formally introduces Shizuka as his new girlfriend. At first glance, Hikari and Karen assume she's just an ordinary girl, so out of curiosity, they ask what Shizuka likes. Rintaro explains that Shizuka communicates through her smartphone, which holds her favorite series. He adds that he's already sent her the second volume, complete with their names included in the story. Intrigued, Shizuka clicks on their names. When the phone refers to Karen as Lady, Karen looks offended. Rintaro quickly explains it's just part of Shizuka's unique way of speaking, and part of her charm. He goes on to describe Shizuka's quirks, including how her toes wiggle expressively depending on what she's reading. He also mentions some of the cute habits of his other girlfriends. Hikari bites her fingers when she's thinking, which is something Rintaro finds strangely attractive, and Karen twirls her hair whenever he compliments her. All 3 girls grow shy at how attentively Rintaro observes them. Blushing, they can't believe he notices such subtle things and genuinely cares. Then Rintaro casually adds that whenever he, Hikari, and Karen gobble each other's tongues, they tend to do something adorable afterward. Shizuka hears this and asks if they've already shared breath with him. Rintaro doesn't catch her meaning at first, until she selects the right dialogue on her phone. After understanding what she asked, he confirms that yes, he's shared breath with both Hikari and Karen. Shizuka responds quietly that she's saving her kiss until she gets married. Rintaro gently reassures her that he wants to kiss her too, but only when she's ready, and assures her that they can take it slow. As they continue lunch, Hikari and Karen start chattering about their day, feeding Rintaro with their hands. Shizuka, not yet comfortable, keeps a bit of distance. Rintaro notices and reaches into his bag, pulling out a playing card. He invites them all to play a game called Lady Maid, with the loser getting tickled by the winner. When the girls imagine getting tickled by him, they are all fired up to purposefully lose. In the first round, Rintaro wins, and Karen loses. She resists laughing as Rintaro tickles her, trying to maintain her dignity, but still ends up releasing happy noises.
You naughty, naughty.
In round 2, Rintaro wins again, and this time, Hikari loses, so she quickly begs him to tickle her melons, but Karen stops her from doing so. Unlike Karen, Hikari enjoys the sensation, fully letting herself cream. But she quickly stops when she realizes that her sprinklers are almost on. In the third round, Rintaro once again takes the win, and Shizuka is the loser this time. Rintaro is excited to hear her laugh, but as he's tickling her, she remains silent, but her smartphone laughs in her place. Rintaro chuckles but feels a little disappointed. He had hoped to hear her genuine laugh. In the fourth round, Karen and Hikari team up for revenge. They want to tickle Rintaro and see his true self, but Shizuka unexpectedly wins. It's her turn to tickle Rintaro, and while the others go wild, she just pokes him. Still, Rintaro bursts out laughing, saying it's the hardest he's laughed in a long time. After the game, he excuses himself to go to the restroom, leaving Shizuka alone with Hikari and Karen. Karen wastes no time confronting Shizuka. She snaps at her for being too quiet and acting stupid, criticizing her for holding back on tickling Rintaro. Hikari steps in to calm things down, but Shizuka suddenly speaks up. She explains softly that, as the newest girlfriend, she's been holding back out of respect for the girls who've already been brave with Rintaro. Hakari sarcastically tells Karen to stop scolding her, calling her scary. That only angers Karen more, and she challenges Hakari to a fight. But before it can escalate, Shizuka cuts in again, this time with something heartfelt. She tells Hakari that she's a wonderful, beautiful, and charming girl. She turns to Karen and says she's full of confidence and elegance. Both girls freeze, caught off guard. They blush as her words are simply too sweet. Then, Shizuka admits her biggest fear, which is Rintaro comparing her to them. Karen softens, calling Shizuka cute and apologizing for yelling. Hakari reassures her there's no need to worry, as Karen is just hot-headed. She explains that Rintaro is the kind of guy who notices all the little things and truly cherishes each of them. Karen, fired up again, tells Shizuka not to hold back and states that if she wants to ask Rintaro for something or do something with him, she should just go for it. Meanwhile, Rintaro never actually went to the restroom. He's been hiding just outside the door, listening. He had planned this moment after seeing the death stares Shizuka got when she tickled him. Now, he smiles, feeling satisfied. Rintaro steps back onto the rooftop. Karen immediately complains that Shizuka's poke doesn't count, as she needs to tickle him for real until he pees, and Hakari agrees. Shizuka looks at them both, surprised and moved by their support. She walks over to Rintaro and, with new courage, tells him she wants to play tongue twister with him. She admits she lied earlier and that she's not saving it for marriage. In truth, she wants it deeply, and Karen and Hakari gave her the confidence to say it. Rintaro doesn't mind at all. He gently strokes her hair, then touches her cheek and kisses her. Shizuka's face turns bright red. Hakari teases Karen, saying it's her fault that Shizuka is more confident now. Then she asks if Karen isn't jealous, but denies it, saying she just wants to support Shizuka. But Hakari walks over to Rintaro and asks him to share his sugar. She pauses, then quietly asks him if she's enough for him. Rintaro smiles warmly and tells them all they're beautiful and cute in his eyes. Hakari beams and shares a breath with him. Karen watches, clearly feeling jealous despite what she said. She tries to act cool, dropping hints, hoping Rintaro will notice. He responds by hugging her. Blushing, she lightly punches him when he calls her super duper cute. Rintaro then tells her he wants to kiss her too. Karen admits she wants to, and so, they kiss. Now, all three girls have shared a breath with him. Rintaro looks up at the blue sky. The girls ask him what he's thinking. He smiles and tells them that he feels grateful that he now has them. Weeks later, Karen, Hakari, and Shizuka stand in the school hallway, staring up at the exam results board. They're waiting for Rintaro, who's gone back to his classroom to retrieve his phone. His device holds countless cherished memories with his girlfriends, photos, chats, and little moments frozen in time. When Rintaro arrives, he finds a white-haired baddie, Nano, already there, quietly working on an assignment. He casually asks if she's planning to check the exam results, and Nano replies bluntly that it's a waste of time, as she already knows she'll be ranked at the top. Then, for a brief moment, their eyes meet. Something unspoken passes between them, an invisible thread, a soul-deep signal that warns Rintaro that she is another one of his soulmates. Still feeling the electricity of that moment, Rintaro invites Nano to come check the results with him. She refuses, unmoved by their sudden connection. Rintaro leaves, heading to the results board. He and the others see that Hakari ranks 25th. Shizuka comes in at 44th. Karen lands at 87th, and Rintaro follows just below her, at 88th. At the very top, as expected, is Nano with perfect scores in every subject. He turns to his girlfriends and asks if they knows anything about Nano. They've heard she's not just smart, but she's a hyper-intelligent artificial intelligence, capable of answering any question on any topic. Later in biology class, Rintaro is paired with Nano. He finds himself staring at her elegant, mysterious beauty. He quickly snaps out of it, reminding himself not to fall into simp territory. He volunteers to grab the microscope, and Nano silently nods. As they work, Rintaro can't help but compare her to his girlfriends. While Hakari, Karen, and Shizuka are bubbly, expressive, and adorable, Nano has a calm grace that draws him in like gravity. Returning with the microscope, he notices Nano copying answers straight from the notebook. Rintaro gently suggests they do the experiment themselves, as it's more fun that way, but Nano disagrees. She tells him that the answers have already been discovered by scientists, so they shouldn't waste time doing experiments. Their teacher starts eyeing them suspiciously, and while panicking, Rintaro insists they at least try the experiment. Reluctantly, Nano agrees, and they begin. Rintaro cuts an onion, but slices his finger in the process. He rushes to the sink, considering whether he should go to the nurse's office. Unexpectedly, Nano stops him. Calmly, she takes his hand, places his finger in her mouth, and slowly licks the wound like a professional glizzy vacuum. She explains that human saliva contains antimicrobial properties, so there's no need to visit the nurse for a cut that small. Rintaro is stunned, not just by her logic, but by how close she is. He can't take his eyes off her flawless face, and something inside him starts to shift. After class, Rintaro finds Nano in the hallway and thanks her for helping with his finger. But she coldly brushes it off, saying that she only did it to avoid delays. Rintaro says that he'd like to repay her to maybe get to know her better through something fun, but Nano declines, saying that she's only spent 1 second of her life doing anything she'd consider fun and she doesn't intend to repeat it. For her, only performance and results matter. Anything that doesn't serve the future is meaningless to her. They begin debating the concept of value, with Rintaro arguing that there's more to life than just results. But Nano ends the discussion abruptly, calling it pointless. She walks away, leaving Rintaro wondering whether she's truly his soulmate after all. That night, Nano sits at home, deep in her usual studies. But her mind betrays her, as it replays the scenes where she saw Rintaro's expression, the closeness, the girth of his hand. She blushes, annoyed with herself. She tries to reset her focus by writing out the digits of phi like a madman, but even math can't erase Rintaro from her thoughts. The next day in class, emotionless as ever, Nano flatly confesses that she's in love with Rintaro and wants a relationship. Rintaro, stunned but moved, says he feels the same. But Nano immediately rejects him, saying that she rejects him because he didn't do what she thought should happen, which is him rejecting her. Rintaro tells her he's been rejected over 100 times, and he doesn't give up that easily. He declares that he will love her no matter what, and that she won't escape his feelings. Nano analyzes his words and feels that something in them rings true. To wrestle back control of her mind, she starts reciting the digits of phi once again. Later, Rintaro invites her on a date to test their feelings in a more personal setting, and the next day, they go to a theme park. Rintaro is surprised to see Nano in casual clothes as she looks stunning. Nano remarks on how illogical the entire park is, and Rintaro simply smiles and rolls with it. They enter a haunted house first. Nano critiques it, saying that ghosts aren't scientifically real, just people in costumes. Rintaro, however, is genuinely scared, clinging to the edge of every shadow. Next, they ride the spinning teacups, and Nano fails to see the purpose of such a dogwater experience. Then, they tackle the maze, and Nano critiques it as inefficient, saying that mazes are created for dimwits. Finally, they reach the Ferris wheel, and for the first time, Nano shows fear. She's afraid of heights, and Rintaro gently sits beside her, offering quiet support. She grabs his hand tightly, holding it until the ride ends. Afterward, they review the photos Rintaro took throughout the day. Nano claims she feels nothing and even says the whole day was meaningless. Patient as always, Rintaro prepares to burn the photos. But just as they begin to curl in the fire, Nano snatches them back. Tears fall from her eyes. Despite her words, the memories did mean something to her, but she just doesn't know how to explain it. Rintaro tells her gently that these are the kinds of moments that give life meaning. Finally, Nano turns to him and admits she loves him and wants to be with him.
Oh, yeah, baby!
She wants to explore the side of life she's never known. When Rintaro reaches out to shake hands, Nano pulls him close instead, and they kiss deeply. She tells him she wants to fulfill her desires with him, and the two walk home hand in hand. Days later, on the school rooftop, Rintaro introduces Nano to his harem roster. He asks for their permission to bring her into the nightmare rotation. Karen loses her temper, shouting at him to just do what he wants. Hakari and Shizuka, more composed, say they don't mind as long as they're still treated with love and respect. Rintaro smiles, saying they should all go somewhere together to bond. Hakari, already one step ahead, announces the plan of going to a water park. Days later, Karen heads to a swimsuit store, irritated after finding out Hakari suddenly planned a trip to the swimming pool. She struggles to pick a swimsuit and eventually finds a cute one. At first, she hesitates, thinking she wouldn't look good in it, but then imagines how Rintaro might like it, which convinces her to buy it. Then, on the day of the pool, Hikari, Shizuka, and Nano surprise Rintaro in their swimsuits, showing him the creamy reasons why men go to war. He wonders where Karen is until she appears, bundled in a coat. She says she feels cold, and Nano tells her to go sunbathe. Karen brushes it off, telling her not to worry about her, but Nano responds coldly, claiming Karen's not someone she'd worry about. Karen tells them to have fun and chooses to watch from a distance. Rintaro, Hikari, Shizuka, and Nano head to the whirlpool, amazed by how spacious it is. Shizuka spins helplessly on her floaty, confused about why she's spinning. Nano sees the pool as a training ground and tries to fight the current, prompting Rintaro to warn her not to resist it. Suddenly, Hikari pretends to fall into Rintaro, and he calls her out for purposefully making him feel the jiggles. Out of jealousy, Nano puts Rintaro's hand on her melons, saying that she wants him to appreciate her, and Hikari refuses to lose, so she does the same. The two start arguing on whose melons are creamier, but when they ask for Rintaro's opinion, they find him dead after losing too much blood. They drag him to the dry poolside, and panicking, Hikari tries mouth-to-mouth, ends up enjoying it too much. Nano steps in to try as well, and also ends up enjoying the mouth-to-mouth. Meanwhile, Shizuka is still being pulled by the current, calling for help through her phone, but no one hears her. Suddenly, her floaty gets ripped, forcing her to avoid drowning by getting stranded on a pool island, stranded and alone. Back at the poolside, Hikari and Nano fail to wake Rintaro and rush off to find a male lifeguard. On their way, they encounter 3 simps. One tries to grab Hikari's upper arm, curious because he's heard that a girl's upper arm has the same softness as their cherries. But before Anna gets to touch it, Nano intercepts him, and when he tries talking, she pokes his eye. His friends step in, threatening Nano, asking if she wants it the easy way or the hard way. Nano agrees to do it the hard way with all 3 dudes, as long as Hikari gets to find a lifeguard to save Rintaro. Hikari questions her plan, and Nano tells her that because she's the newer girlfriend, Rintaro would be more worried for Hikari than her. However, Hikari tells the simps that none of them are hanging out with them, and she scolds Nano for misunderstanding Rintaro. Just as one of the simps is about to touch the girls, the goat himself, Rintaro, pops up to stop him, telling him to stay away from his girlfriends. The simp demands that they get their payback after his homie got blinded, so Rintaro offers them to play with him instead.
You are gay.
But he refuses. He tells Rintaro to take his girlfriend while leaving the other, but to his confusion, Rintaro declares that both girls are his girlfriends. They refuse to believe that this imbecile is the next Genghis Khan and demand proof by them kissing each other. Rintaro tries to refuse, but Nano steps forward and kisses him to prove her loyalty. Hikari joins in on the kiss. The simps are stunned by the bold public display and quickly back off, not wanting to mess with a Chad like that. Hikari and Nano ask how Rintaro found them, and in that moment, Karen pops up. He tells them that Karen saw them in danger, and when he told Rintaro about it, he instinctively woke up and rushed towards them. Rintaro thanks Nano for protecting Hikari, but warns her not to go overboard like that again. Nano blushes to see him care about her that much. Karen then asks where Shizuka is, and Rintaro realizes that she's missing. He panics and rushes toward the whirlpool, which is the last place they saw her. Shizuka, still stuck on the island, tries calling for help with her phone, but it dies. Feeling abandoned, she begins to cry, but Rintaro calls out for her. She hesitates to respond, thinking he won't hear her, but out of her trust for him, she yells anyway, and Rintaro hears her instantly. He runs to the pool island to rescue her, since she can't swim. Shizuka blushes at his boldness and, overwhelmed by emotion, kisses him in front of everyone. They regroup, and Rintaro tells everyone to have fun while he relaxes with Karen, who still says she feels cold. They sit together by the pool, sipping cold soda. Rintaro teases Karen, saying she's been staring at Hikari and Nano's plots. She denies it, claiming she's just cold, and Rintaro questions why she's drinking cold soda. She admits that compared to Nano and Hikari, she's jealous of their plots, but Rintaro tells her to stand up and pulls off her coat, revealing her cute swimsuit. While Karen is beating him up, Rintaro compliments the swimsuit and hugs her, showing how fast his heart is beating. Karen blushes, surprised, as she'd assumed he preferred Hikari or Nano's swimsuits. In that moment, Karen folds hard for Rintaro and blushes heavily. Seeing this, Rintaro kisses her deeply, and they enjoy their little moment together. Karen and Rintaro rejoin the others, and Hikari compliments Karen's swimsuit, calling it cute. After all the chaos, they finally get to enjoy their date at the pool together. The next day, Rintaro and the girls are running to get food when they run past the lab. And when Rintaro looks inside, he makes a love connection with a thick mommy in a lab coat, adding another lover to his harem. The next morning, he heads to the lab to find the busty hottie, but to his confusion, the only person he sees is a mini-sized red-headed chemist. She introduces herself as Kusuri and offers Rintaro some tea in a lab beaker so he can wait for her while she cooks up a brand new drug. To his amazement, Kusuri presents Rintaro with the human magnet medicine and explains that the drug changes the iron inside his body, turning it into a magnet and pulling all the iron and metal around him towards him like a rich old dude pulling a fatherless hoe. He drinks it, and while it amazes him, Kusuri warns that he will be best friends with the toilet for the next 3 days. She adds that if another person drinks another drug with the opposite pole of his, it will pull her towards him, and she cutely hugs Rintaro, causing him to almost raise his personal iron. However, Kusuri quickly realizes that the effect is strong, preventing her from pulling away, and in that moment, she needs to take a leak. Rintaro begs her not to do it, but Kusuri assures him that it's fine as she's wearing diapers, and she gives Rintaro the golden shower. After calming down, Kusuri expresses to Rintaro how much she loves making drugs like a certain cancer patient, and Rintaro can't help but fall for her. He tries to focus on his goal of finding his soulmate, but Kusuri has already realized that Rintaro has fallen for her and calls him out for it. She reveals that she put a love potion inside his tea and confesses that she has fallen in love with him at first glance and wants him badly. To her shock, Rintaro starts puking out the love potion, and she feels sad to see Rintaro refusing to love her. She starts crying at Rintaro, asking him if he's not attracted to her, but Rintaro tells her that he wants to love her as the real him, and not the love potion version of him. Suddenly, Rintaro starts tweaking due to his body resisting the drug, and Kusuri tries to give him the neutralizer drug to reverse the drugs inside his body. When she sees that Rintaro can't physically drink it, she drinks it herself and feeds it to him mouth to mouth. After the drug's effect wears down, Rintaro tells Kusuri that he is still attracted to her, and they both get flustered, realizing that they love each other without the drugs. Kusuri desperately begs him to date her, saying that he can do anything to her, but in that moment, Kusuri's body slowly transforms from a midget to a busty babe. And Rintaro realizes that she's the girl he saw the other day. She explains that her current thick mommy form is her real body, and her midget form is caused by using a failed immortality drug, which she used because her mini form doesn't have bad eyesight. After seeing the all-creamy snoo-snoo, Rintaro agrees to date her, and she happily accepts him to become a part of his harem. The next day, Rintaro introduces the others to Kusuri, and when she introduces herself as a drug-loving freak, Karen panics. Kusuri shows Karen multiple drugs she made for her that would help her grow her plots, and Karen gets offended by it. Kusuri explains that Rintaro was the one who told her about what Karen is like, and Karen puts Rintaro in the walls of Jericho out of anger that he talked about her flaws. However, Kusuri reveals that Rintaro actually pointed out how Karen was a slender beauty, and Karen apologizes to Rintaro for almost breaking his back. Then, Kusuri presents Hakari with the hot stuff medicine, and she imagines how the drug will make her massive plots ginormous so she can get down and dirty with Rintaro.
What do you mean by that?
Without any hesitation, Hakari drinks it, hoping that she can get a BBL for her melons, but to her surprise, she starts sweating acid, causing all of her clothes to dissolve. Kusuri explains that the medicine makes her hotter by forcing her to wear her bathing suit, and Rintaro quickly gives Hakari his tracksuit that he wore earlier to cover up. However, Hakari quickly realizes that it smells like Rintaro, so she starts sniffing heavily to get her fountain going and thanks Kusuri for the assist. Then, Kusuri hands Shizuka a fantasy medicine, knowing that Shizuka loves books, and when Shizuka drinks it, she grows a pair of furry ears. Rintaro can't resist how cute she looks, and when he touches it, Shizuka feels a tingling sensation. Rintaro imagines that it's like petting an animal, so he rubs Shizuka's ears, causing her to make happy noises. Then, Kusuri gives a hair-controlling drug to Nano to increase her efficiency, turning her hair into tentacles like she's Doc Ock. She uses her hair to lift AGO, and when they kiss, they both express that they like it. However, Kusuri informs Nano that if she keeps using it, she will eventually go bald. Nano doesn't mind going bald due to how efficient it will be, but when Rintaro tells her that he loves how soft her hair is, she changes her mind. Later, the group has a picnic together, and Kuzuri tells them her dream of one day becoming a part of a chemistry research team, and the group shows her their support for her dream. Suddenly, Kuzuri feels the urge to pee, but before leaving, she informs the group that the 2 flasks contain different teas, one for the girls and one for Rentaro. When she leaves, the girls rationalize that the little one is for Rentaro, so the girls mindlessly drink the blue one. When Kuzuri returns, she gets excited seeing Rentaro drink her tea, but when she realizes that the girls are drinking from the blue flasks, she panics. Age tries to calm her down, but Kuzuri informs him that the blue flask contains a drug that will push someone to obsessively kiss the person they love, which is meant for Rentaro. He tells Kuzuri that he doesn't need a drug to want to kiss her, and she feels happy to hear that. Suddenly, they get attacked by Karen and the others, and Kuzuri explains that because they drank the drug tea, they have turned into a kissing zombie who wants to kiss Rentaro non-stop. Initially, Rentaro believes that it would be heaven, but Kuzuri warns him that if they don't give the girls the antidote in an hour, they will forever be kissing zombies, while missing their personalities. They manage to go inside the building, and Kuzuri urges Rentaro that they need to go to the lab to make the antidote against the kissing zombies. They run downstairs and head towards the lab, but on their path, the zombies pop up to intercept them. Kuzuri rummages through her lab coat and finds acid that she can throw at the girls, but Rentaro orders her not to harm the girls' beautiful faces. They quickly run the other way, with the girls slowly catching up to them, but because they're running out of the hall, the freaky vice principal pops up and threatens to kiss them. Kuzuri acts fast out of fear and yeets the acid at her face, causing her to look as ugly as my ex-girlfriend. As they continue to run away, the girls pincer them to catch up, and Rentaro realizes that, so he tells Kuzuri that they should do the same. It leaves Shizuka to chase down Rentaro, and he realizes that despite the drug, Shizuka is still slow, so he should be clear. Suddenly, Shizuka face plants into the floor, and Rentaro panics. He quickly brings her to the nurse's office, where no one is there, and puts a compress on her head. In that moment, he realizes that he messed up, as Shizuka charges at him to the bed and kisses him. He slowly starts losing himself, letting Shizuka have her way with him, but he quickly wakes himself up and puts Shizuka in a hangar so he can escape. On his way to the lab, he runs into Hakasuri and Karen, and to catch Rentaro, they maneuver, creating a catapult and yeeting Hakari at Rentaro. With both girls on him, he gets kisses after kisses from both of them, slowly oozing out baby batter. However, the 2 girls start arguing, and Rentaro realizes that despite the drug's influence, they are still the same person inside. Realizing this, Rentaro pushes the 2 of them to kiss each other, and as he expects, they continue kissing as Rentaro knows that they have tension towards each other. It creates a scene between the girls that any man would love to get involved in, but Rentaro decides to leave them and continue his journey. As he makes it to the lab, he finds Nano inside and quickly hides in a locker to avoid Nano. There, he finds Kuzuri hiding with him, and she explains that Nano almost caught her earlier. As Rentaro starts to get frustrated, Kuzuri starts crying heavily, expressing how she screwed up again, the same way she screwed up and caused people to walk away from her life. Kuzuri promises that she loves Rentaro and is willing to even stop doing what she loves, making drugs. Just then, she remembers that she has 1 dose of the drug's neutralizer on her, and Rentaro realizes that they can use it on Nano. However, out of sheer stupidity, Kuzuri drinks it herself, and when Rentaro asks her why she drinks it, she tells him she had a brain fart. It turns her back into her real, thick mommy form, and she has the idea of using her current form to sneak past Nano, thinking that she won't recognize her. However, when she presents herself to Nano, she accidentally exposes herself, which ends with her getting tied up, leaving Rentaro alone. He runs away, forcing Nano to chase him and leave Kuzuri unattended. He hides inside a locked storage, thinking that he's safe, but Nano goes full Jack Nicholson and destroys the door to get him.
FBI, open up!
It leaves him cornered and helpless against Nano, and with no way out, she gives him the longest tongue workout any man could get, that even the end credits start rolling. Suddenly, Kuzuri pops up to give her the antidote, and it knocks out Nano. Later, after giving everyone the antidote, they are all knocked out, and they wake up in the infirmary. Hakari suddenly remembers her steamy tongue-twisting session with Karen and tells Karen that they don't remember anything, and when Karen remembers, she also pretends that nothing ever happened. Then, in tears, Kuzuri apologizes to all of them for turning them into kissing zombies, deeming everything her fault. Rentaro calms her down and tells her that she should never abandon her passion for making drugs, and that if everything goes wrong, he will be there to fix it for her out of his love for her. After hearing that, Kyusuri hugs him, telling him how much she loves him, and ends it with a kiss. Some days later, Hakari is having a conversation with her mother, Hahari, when Hahari suddenly delivers a stern warning, leaving Hakari shocked. After saying her piece, Hahari exits the room, and Hakari is left feeling hurt. The next day, Rentaro and his girlfriends visit the Lozono flower park. Kyusuri is thrilled as there are countless flowers she can use for her drug research. Rentaro expresses his gratitude to Hakari for bringing them, calling it the perfect date spot. Suddenly, a loudspeaker announces the monthly bouquet tossing event. Hakari explains the rules and the prize, which is a special, wedding-like photoshoot with a loved one. Without hesitation, Rentaro insists they all join, and everyone agrees. Unbeknownst to the others, Hakari secretly dreams of wearing the white dress featured in the photoshoot, a dream she's had since childhood. Suddenly, a roar shakes the area. It's the Guerrilla Syndicate captain. The Syndicate, always a step ahead, is fully prepared for the event. Rentaro and his girlfriends begin strategizing. He tells Shizuka to stay back due to her height disadvantage. Kyusuri reassures everyone, saying she's taken a transformation drug that's returned her to her original creamier form. Feeling competitive, Rentaro becomes jealous of the Syndicate's flags and makes his own using a towel and a marker, calling them Rentaro's wifeys, which they all approve. The event kicks off, and to their surprise, the bouquet tosser is their vice principal, who is also an ex-shot putter nicknamed the Supersonic Arm.
It's pretty difficult to put into words how disgusted I am.
From the sidelines near the Syndicate, Shizuka cheers while holding Rentaro's makeshift flag. The old prune launches the bouquet with incredible force, and everyone sprints after it. The Guerrilla Syndicate begins taking out other participants. The captain hurls a member toward Hakari, but Karen intervenes. She strips the attacker, puts on his uniform, and infiltrates the Syndicate, since they're already breaking the rules. Rentaro and the others are impressed by her boldness. Karen stalls the Syndicate captain, who is visibly shaken by her presence. The Syndicate executes a tornado maneuver to reach the bouquet, unintentionally launching Shizuka into the air due to her small size and light weight. She manages to grab the bouquet mid-air. As she falls, Kyusuri, Nano, and Hakari try to catch her, but she bounces off their balloons. Still airborne, she's finally caught by Rentaro, and Karen feels happy that she wasn't there due to her non-existent melons. To fairly decide the winner, they agree to draw chopsticks. Hakari secretly marks the red chopstick to rig the result in her favor. However, Nano proposes that everyone draw at the same time, making Hakari nervous. Despite her fears, Hakari draws the red marked chopstick and wins. She's chosen to wear the dress and take the photo with Rentaro. Suddenly, Kyusuri throws a tantrum, crying like a baby and demanding the dress and the photo. Moved by her tears, Hakari gives up the spot. Karen is shocked to see Hakari sacrifice her childhood dream. Kyusuri joyfully hugs Hakari, burying her face in her chest. However, she soon changes her mind, saying she wants Hakari and Rentaro to be happy. Out of love, she gives the spot back to Hakari, but Hakari suggests they all take the photo together, which creates a beautiful memory for all of them. While waiting for the printout, Hakari quietly tells Rentaro that wearing the dress and taking a photo with someone special has always been her dream. She thanks him, saying her life has been full of happiness since meeting him. Rentaro smiles and says he feels the same. Then, Hakari drops a bombshell and asks Rentaro to break up with her, offering no explanation. In the changing room, Rentaro is left stunned. He tries to speak with her, but she's already gone, having picked up the photo from the receptionist. The receptionist mentions that a car came to pick her up. Rentaro tries calling Hakari, but she doesn't answer. Determined, he uses the address from her creamy photo pins and heads to her home. To his surprise, she lives in a massive mansion. Spotting her through a window, he calls out to her. A security guard hears the noise, but finds no one. Hakari calls Rentaro and coldly tells him to stay away, claiming she's fallen out of love. But then she reveals the truth that her mother found out about their relationship, confiscated her phone, and is transferring her to a new school in an undisclosed location. Before Hakari can say more, her mother grabs the phone and speaks directly to Rentaro, warning him never to contact her daughter again, or she will cut his glizzy in half. Rentaro tries to reason with her, but a security guard stops him from climbing the fence. Meanwhile, Hahari tells the guard to keep Rintaro far from the premises, and Hikari begs her mother not to hurt Rintaro and promises to obey from now on. Pleased, Hahari hugs her and ominously says that she will exterminate the bug threatening her precious flower. Walking away, Rintaro stares at the ground, heartbroken. He begins reminiscing about all the memories he shared with Hikari. That night at midnight, he calls all his girlfriends and asks them to meet at a playground. There, he tells them everything about how Hikari's mother has forbidden their relationship. Rintaro reveals to them that he's going to break into the mansion and take Hikari away to a new town where they can be together. His girlfriends refuse to let him go alone, and they all agree to help him infiltrate the mansion, because they love Hikari too. At the estate, Kuzuri stares in awe at the grand fountain in the yard, as it practically screams rich person's house. Rintaro warns everyone that the security here is no joke, so they'll need to be extra cautious and stay focused. He tries calling Hikari's phone again, but still gets no answer, confirming her mother hasn't returned it. Rintaro has a plan and reveals that he brought a rubber ball to throw at Hikari's window, hoping to catch her attention so she can climb down using a rope. He throws it, but it doesn't reach, and the ball vanishes from sight. Curious, Karen goes to check and spots a regal-looking house cat batting the ball around. She and Kuzuri try to catch it, but fail miserably. Nano steps in and readies a precise kick to stop the cat, but Rintaro catches her mid-air just in time. The noise draws the attention of a security guard. He approaches, but only finds the cat playing with the ball. Amused, he ends up playing along. Meanwhile, Rintaro and the girls stay hidden behind a bush and a tree, watching nervously. Now they need to figure out how to actually get inside. Nano suggests using the pet door, but it's far too small. Karen turns to Kuzuri and asks if she has a shrinking potion, but Kuzuri says that she doesn't. Undeterred, Nano gathers some rocks and begins flicking them precisely at the back door's lock. One by one, she strikes until the door unlocks from the inside. Rintaro notices that her nail is broken from the effort, and Karen pulls out the first aid kit Rintaro brought and applies medicine to Nano's injury. She tells Nano she didn't have to go that far, but Nano insists. She expresses that she owes Hikari and wants to help her now, and the others are visibly touched. Inside the mansion, they're suddenly confronted by a guard dog. Rintaro steps forward and holds the dog back, urging the girls to escape. Once outside, he starts wondering where Shizuka is. Back inside, he finds her cornered by the same dog. Rintaro moves to help, but Nano holds him back, saying that they can't afford to alert the guards. Shizuka stands frozen, but memories of all the kindness Hikari has shown her come flooding back. She realizes she has a purpose here, and she wants to return that kindness. In a bold move, she offers herself to the dog as a sacrifice.
Man, I'm dead.
But to her surprise, the dog just starts licking her face. Nano figures that Shizuka might have some sort of natural, animal-friendly aura. Kuzuri quickly hands Shizuka a sleeping potion that is meant for the dog. But because she forgets to clarify, Shizuka drinks it herself and immediately passes out. Moments later, the dog licks her lips and collapses too. Kuzuri then administers a reversal potion to Shizuka, waking her up, and with the dog now out cold, the group continues forward into the mansion. As they navigate the corridor, the cat from earlier returns, but only this time it triggers an alarm. Security is alerted, and a few guards check the hallway but discover it was just the cat. Still, the group now knows the mansion has laser sensors. To get past them, Kuzuri gives Rintaro special eye drops that allow him to see the lasers. Karen notices that the eye drops were meant to be sent to Kuzuri's dream research theme, with the hope that she can achieve her dream and join them. But Kuzuri decides that she wants to help Hikari, whom she considers a dear friend. They move forward. Rintaro, now able to see the laser grid, realizes they'll need 2 people to get through safely. He chooses Karen as she's small, but is extremely strong. They map out a path between the lasers, and though one route looks particularly dangerous, Rintaro is ready to risk it for Hikari. Together, they climb up to the ceiling and start navigating the grid, but midway through, Karen's clothes give out, and she has to hold on while feeling Rintaro rubbing on her tummy, causing her to squeal. They eventually arrive, and Rintaro tells Shizuka, Nano, and Kuzuri to stay behind while he and Karen press on. They reach Hikari's room and find her crying, holding the flower park photo in her hands. Suddenly, an alarm blares. Rintaro wastes no time and tells her he's there to take her away. But it's too late. Guards surround them, and Hikari appears. Hikari is locked in her room, tears streaming down her face. She thinks of all the small but meaningful things her friends have done for her. The laughs, the support, the love, and she realizes that her mother's control won't just trap her, but it'll end up trapping Rintaro too. Outside, Nano, Kuzuri, and Shizuka continue waiting anxiously. A guard appears, and they quickly duck into a bush. To create a diversion, Shizuka plays cat noises from her phone, and the guard follows the sound. Back inside, Hahari finally confronts Rintaro and Karen in the living room. She introduces herself and warns them that if they try something like this again, they'll be restrained. But this time, she lets it go as they're Hakari's friends. After all, Rintaro asks for her blessing, promising to make Hakari happy. Hahari remains unmoved and reveals that in her past, she gave birth to Hakari while the love of her life died. Since then, she's devoted her life entirely to raising her daughter, and that's why she refuses to let Hakari date, as she can't bear the thought of her daughter suffering the same loss. Rintaro begins to sob, deeply moved by her story. Just then, the night vision potion wears off, and his eyes return to normal. Something shifts in the atmosphere. An emotional connection sparks between Hahari and Rintaro. And then, to everyone's surprise, Hahari asks him to go out with her. Karen is frozen in disbelief to hear that Hahari has a crush on her daughter's baby daddy. Rintaro is too stunned to respond, but Karen snaps him back to reality, reminding him to stay focused. Still blushing and caught in a love-struck daze, Hahari locks eyes with Rintaro and declares, despite her feelings, that her decision remains unchanged, and she will not allow him to bump bellies with her daughter. Rintaro responds without hesitation, saying that he's not giving up after he made a promise to Hakari to make her happy, and he intends to keep it. Hahari remains skeptical, so she pulls out a bizarre contraption in the form of a lie-detecting chair and claims it's infallible, able to detect even the smallest lie. Rintaro is stunned that she's going this far, and he demands proof that the machine actually works. To demonstrate, Karen is volunteered as the test subject. Hahari explains it's simply so Rintaro can trust the chair's reliability. Then, without warning, Hahari asks Karen her cup size. Karen is mortified by the inappropriate question, but Hahari insists it's necessary to have something with visible proof. Flustered, Karen lies and says her cup size is a B, almost a C. The machine instantly blares a loud alert saying that a lie has been detected. Embarrassed, Karen admits she's actually in a cup, and the machine confirms her confession as the truth. Then comes the big question of whether Karen loves Rintaro. Karen says yes, but the lie detector lights up again, claiming another lie. Furious and humiliated, Karen begins punching the chair like it's a sparring dummy. Rintaro is devastated for a moment, shaken by the idea that Karen might not truly love him. But then Karen turns back, tears in her eyes, and screams that she loves Rintaro more than anything in the entire world. She says it with her whole heart, and this time, the lie detector goes wild, confirming her words, practically short-circuiting from the intensity. Rintaro, seeing how seriously the machine takes honesty, decides to take his turn. He sits down and tells Hahari that he loves Hakari more than anything in the whole wide world. Hahari is visibly shaken. She wants to believe him, and for a brief moment, she does. But then she shakes her head, still refusing to believe. Suddenly, a maid bursts in with urgent news that Hakari is on the verge of jumping out of her window and doing a 360 to meet Batman's parents. Karen reacts instantly. Without thinking, she puts Hahari in a chokehold, yelling at Rintaro to go. She says she's willing to sacrifice herself as she knows he'll come back for her. On the balcony, Hakari warns the security guards to stay back or she'll jump. Rintaro arrives, breathless, and pleads with her to come down. He tells her he's here to take her away. Hakari is overwhelmed with gratitude, but her expression turns serious. She says she can't keep running from her mother, as doing so would only hurt Rintaro in the long run. It's not fair to him. Rintaro suddenly yells for her to stop. He tells her that no matter what happens, as long as they're together, nothing will ever make him unhappy. He confesses again that he loves her and wants to spend his life with her. Hakari is overcome with emotion, but as the adrenaline fades, she realizes how high up she is, and panic sets in. She loses her balance and begins to fall, but Rintaro lunges forward, catching her hand just in time. Then Karen and Hahari arrive at the room. They see Rintaro dangling from the window, gripping Hakari with everything he has. He shouts that he'll never let her go, but the strain is too much. They both fall, but thinking quickly, Rintaro twists midair, guiding their fall into the pond below. Outside, Nano, Shizuka, and Kusuri see them fall and rush over to help. Shizuka slips and starts to sink, but Kusuri grabs her just in time. Rentaro surfaces with Hakari in his arms, holding her tightly as she gasps for breath, shaken but alive. Hahari and Karen arrive shortly after to check on them. Karen storms over to Hakari and gives her the Will Smith. Hakari bursts into tears, and Karen yells at her for being so reckless, because she was genuinely terrified for her. Hahari watches in silence, then quietly thanks Rentaro for saving her daughter. But Rentaro turns to her with resolve. He says he doesn't just want to bring happiness to Hakari, but he wants to bring happiness to Hahari too. He tells her he's honored to be with Hakari, and he wants to give her the joy and freedom she's always dreamed of. Moved, Hahari finally relents, and she invites everyone to stay the night for a sleepover at the mansion. Later, the group relaxes in the hot bath. Hahari, Hakari, Kusuri, and Nano engage in a cherry display battle, playfully showing off. Karen, feeling awkward and self-conscious about her body, slips away unnoticed and heads to the guest room, where Rentaro is sitting on the bed. Rentaro sees Karen's outfit, and when he sees her belly, he blushes. He tells her that it's cute, and Karen grins, ready for a little revenge for what Rentaro did during their laser grid mission. She walks over and lies down on his belly, commenting on how warm it feels. Suddenly, Kusuri walks in, surprising them both. In a panic, they drop to the floor and start doing push-ups to act casual, desperately trying to hide their embarrassment. Later that night, Hahari brings out her extravagant pajama collection and gives each girl a pair. A spontaneous pajama party kicks off, making Rentaro blush furiously as he's surrounded by all the girls in cute sleepwear. The extreme cuteness causes Hahari's nose to bleed from excitement, and Rentaro helps Hahari out of the room to get her some water. While being alone with him in the hallway, Hahari opens up, saying that she can't hold back her feelings anymore. She starts flirting with him, and Rentaro turns bright red, his heart racing. He suddenly realizes that he might become a real man tonight through the ritual of a cream donut and a glizzy. Then, while the others are playing cards, Rentaro and Hahari are sweating buckets together, screaming each other's names.
Nice.
The other girls realize that Rentaro is taking too long, so they quickly confront them, believing that Rentaro is expanding Hahari's creamy domain. However, they find the two in the middle of a cross-dressing session with Rentaro wearing girls' clothes. The girls quickly thank Hahari for providing them with fan service of the ages, and Rentaro collapses out of embarrassment. Hahari gets another idea and puts Nano in a prince's costume to kiss the Princess Rentaro. While the others drool at the sight, Rentaro wakes up and runs away to take a bath. Moments later, the maid brings them a rope, and when Karen asks what's happening, the mother-daughter reveals that they want to peek at Rentaro bathing. While everyone agrees that it's a good chance to see what Rentaro is slanging, Shizuka stops them and expresses her disagreement, not wanting to disappoint Rentaro. The girls team up to shut Shizuka up and turn her into a little burrito, and leave her while they head to peek on Rentaro. Kusuri peeks through the window to look at him, but when Rentaro spots her, he panics, thinking she's a ghost. They quickly pull Kusuri back up, and when Rentaro sees that she's gone, he takes a bath quicker. Meanwhile, still being a little bean burrito, Shizuka imagines how, after the girls peek at Rentaro, it ends with all of them being dragged around and dying. Shizuka finds out that she can roll and starts rolling to stop them. Back with the degenerates, they climb up the attic to peek at Rentaro, but while being up there, the cat touches them, causing them all to panic, thinking it's a mouse. Underneath them, Rentaro is panicking, thinking it's the screams of the ghost above him. Back with the burrito, she prepares herself to roll down the stairs to save Rentaro, but in that moment, the dog pops up and pushes her down. Shizuka rolls free towards the bathroom and ends up falling into the bath. When she pops out, Rentaro gets scared, thinking she's the ghost. However, he quickly realizes that it's Shizuka, and when he comes to her aid, his towel falls off, revealing the elephant trunks that completely traumatize Shizuka so much that she collapses. Rentaro quickly carries her out and finds the others right outside the bathroom. He asks them what they were doing, and while the others lie, Karen slips up and reveals that they wanted to peek at his ding-a-ling, which ends with Rentaro scolding them. Later, while they are playing cards, Hahari heads off somewhere in distraught, and Rentaro follows her to check on her. He finds Hahari praying to the shrine of Hakari's late father, and decides to join her. Rentaro asks her why, despite her pretty looks and the number of men around her, Hahari chose to stay single. She expresses how, despite her lover's death, She was still in love with him and is now feeling guilty for loving another man. Rentaro hugs her, assuring her that people had won and that he is there for her to pour out all her love. She asks him to kiss her and gets reminded of when her late lover told her to keep her first kiss for a person who deeply loves her. She finds that person in Rentaro and he kisses her romantically, making her feel loved again, the same love she once felt. That night, while everyone is asleep, Hakari moves to sleep next to Rentaro, but unbeknownst to her, Karen is wide awake, knowing that Hakari would sneak away. Hakari expresses how afraid she was of losing him before, and he kisses her, assuring her that they will always be together, and Karen lets them have their moment. Later that night, Rentaro wakes up with Hakari missing, but he finds her in the middle of a steamy session with Karen, all while being half asleep. He goes to the bathroom and finds a mysterious man awake. The man aggressively confronts him for stealing his family, and Rentaro realizes that he is Hakari's father. However, to his surprise, Rentaro shows zero fear towards him, and they decide to have a chat. Rentaro tells the man that since he knows how much Hakari and Hahari love him, he has no doubt in his mind that he is a good person. The father asks Rentaro to guarantee his girl's happiness, and Rentaro assures him that he will give them the utmost happiness. He asks the father that they both watch over them, and they shake hands, agreeing to watch over them. Suddenly, the father starts glowing and gets pulled to heaven to be with Ace and the others. He tells Rentaro that with his family's happiness guaranteed, his time as a ghost is over, so he can move on, and Rentaro begs him to stay, but he can't. The next moment, Rentaro wakes up in the hallway, thinking that it was a dream, but he believes that his meeting with the father is true and he's watching over them from heaven. Afterward, they leave the mansion, promising that they will visit Hahari again. But to their shock, days later, Hahari reveals herself at school as their new headmaster after she bought the school. Also, she could be closer to Rentaro. Meanwhile, Rentaro is far away in the mansion, wanting to meet Hahari, but after finding out that she's at school, he hurries there. He runs past different girls who will soon become his girlfriends in Season 2, and finds his current baby mamas waiting for him on the rooftop, all patiently waiting for him, and all deeply in love with him. 3 months after they all started dating Rentaro, Hakari starts getting worried, and she warns the other girlfriends that the honeymoon phase might be ending, and she's afraid their relationship could start getting boring. To stop that from happening, she asks Kusuri to make a special potion that can refresh their love lives. Kusuri agrees and gets to work, but when she activates the potion, something goes wrong. It explodes, covering everything there. Rentaro arrives just after the blast and asks what happened. To his shock, the potion caused all the girls to switch bodies like they're from an anime where a boy asks a girl's name. While the girls are freaking out, Rentaro tries to figure out who's in which body. Hahari, now inside Nano's body, tries to use the opportunity to get some action, but her behavior gives her away, as Rentaro immediately knows it's Hahari. Kusuri, who's inside Hahari's body, tries to act like nothing's wrong, but Rentaro can tell it's her thanks to her nervous energy and small bladder. Then there's Kusuri's body, being all sultry and flirty, and he knows quickly that it's Hahari acting like your cougar neighbor. Next, Rentaro looks at Hahari's original body, only to see her obsessing over her melons, which makes it obvious that Karen is in there, since she usually lacks the cannons. He turns to Karen's body and sees someone standing quietly with a soft smile. That gives away Shizuka, who always communicates through her phone, which Nano, now in Shizuka's body, hands over. After sorting out who's who, they brainstorm how to reverse the body swap. Hahari, who's in Kusuri's body, suggests that maybe Rentaro can reverse the effect with a kiss, just like a prince in a fairy tale. She jumps at the chance, turning on her mature charm while in a cute little body. The kiss almost makes Rentaro pass out, and her soul flies out of her body, proving it works. Nano, still in Shizuka's body, coldly walks up and demands a kiss. Once they kiss, she also busts, and her soul floats away. Then Kusuri, in Hakari's body, hugs Rentaro from behind and starts rubbing her twin puppies against him, nearly waking up his Slim Jim, and when she kisses him, her soul leaves too. Shizuka, in Karen's body, shyly asks for a kiss, and her sweetness nearly ends Rentaro's life, but he locks it in, kisses her, and sends her soul flying. Karen, inside Hahari's thicker-than-a-snicker body, plays hard to get at first, but once Rentaro hits her with his insane riz, she gives in and kisses him, also sending her soul out. Now, it's just Rintaro and Hikari in Nano's body. She hugs him from behind and starts teasing him while the others are out cold. Instead of taking it further, they settle for a kiss, and her soul joins the others. Then, a few moments later, all the souls return to their original bodies. Though it wasn't the plan, Hikari is thrilled, as the whole body-swapping chaos turned into a sweet moment where everyone got kissed. However, while Rintaro enjoyed the experience, he says he prefers them in their real bodies, and that sentiment of his makes them all melt, and they immediately beg to let them gobble his glizzy. The next day, Rintaro is at the store trying to buy some food. When he reaches for an egg sandwich, his hand touches someone else's. He looks up and locks eyes with a girl who immediately zings with him, connecting with each other as soulmates. But when he tries to talk to her, she tells him to go choke on rice and slip in the shower. She walks away only to realize she forgot her wallet and can't buy anything. With her stomach growling, she sits alone on a bench. Rintaro offers her some food, but she barks at him, suspicious of his kindness. However, when her stomach growls again, she blushes and reluctantly accepts. She takes off her hoodie and headset, prays before eating, and surprises Rintaro with how polite she actually is. One bite in, she creams hard from how delicious the food is. Rintaro asks if she really likes it, and she admits she's been craving eggs on toast ever since she heard her classmates talk about how they saw one in a movie. She explains she burns calories fast and gets cranky easily, especially if she has cravings, and that's why she wears her hoodie and headset, which is to dull her senses. When she finishes eating, Rintaro asks for her name, but she just calls him a freaky degenerate and walks away. As she leaves him, her heart starts pounding hard, and she scolds herself for getting flustered. The next day, she storms through the crowd trying to get a katsu sandwich she saw on TV. But when she gets to the cafeteria, they're all sold out. Rintaro shows up and tries to help, suggesting she try a different sandwich, but she snaps at him. Just then, she sees the hurt on his face, and she runs off, frustrated with her own pathetic self. Later, she comes back to school, starving and feeling bad for how she acted. She wonders why she's such a cranky mess who pushes people away, even someone like Rintaro, who was very nice to her. When she returns, Rintaro greets her and takes her to the cooking room, where he surprises her with a fresh katsu sandwich. She takes a bite and practically busts her caps from happiness. She asks where he got the sandwich from, and when he says he made it himself, she sees the burns on his hands and asks why he went through all that for her. Rintaro looks her in the eyes and expresses how he finds it cute how much she enjoys food, and that food tastes better when shared with someone you like. That completely melts her, and she asks him to keep eating with her as her boyfriend. He says yes to being her boyfriend, and she introduces herself as Kurumi. Later, Rintaro brings Kurumi to meet the rest of his girlfriends, introducing her as the newest member of Rintaro's baby mamas, who eats more than the fat losers who watch this video. Kurumi immediately declares that she has no intention to be chummy with the others, saying that she only cares about getting close to Rintaro and nothing else. While the others are amused by her declaration, Nano agrees with her and says that the girls being friends with each other is inefficient. The others get their hearts broken by what she said, but she reiterates and says that the reason she hangs out with them is not because of Rintaro, but it's because she loves them all, and hearing this, the group hugs her, all telling her that they love her. Kurumi watches in confusion, not understanding their bond. But that's when Rintaro brings up the food fight festival, where the winner gets a special gelato. The others pick up interest in the event, and he suggests they form a team, but Kurumi refuses at first, saying she'll go solo for the gelato. But when she hears that it's a team competition only, she reluctantly agrees. The girls get excited and start planning the trip together. The following day, the group arrives at the food festival together. Then, the gooning bait host greets the participants while swaying her hips around, clearly proving that the animators made this scene one-handed. Rintaro believes bringing Kurumi along to this competition is the perfect chance for her to warm up to people, and he sets it as his personal mission to help her open up. The first round is the qualifier, and contestants must eat as much rice as possible. Kurumi insists on going solo, which irritates Karen, who thinks Kurumi is looking down on them. Rintaro steps in to prevent a fight, realizing he needs to help Kurumi slowly warm up to the group. He decides to pair with her for the first round, and they begin eating rice without any real strategy. But then, Rintaro has an idea, and he brings Kirimi various side dishes to help her eat more. As he watches her eat, he notices something remarkable, that the way Kirimi enjoys her food captivates and influences those around her. His plan starts working as other contestants, inspired by Kirimi, begin grabbing side dishes too, unaware they're falling into Rintaro's trap. The side dishes fill them up quickly, while Kirimi keeps devouring rice like a queen due to her metabolism. Rintaro's girlfriends watch in awe at how fast he's eating, and he rizzes them up, saying how the rice tastes different each time, infused with the unique essence of the love juices of whichever girlfriend passed it to him. That flavor, that connection, drives him to eat more, while the girls are folding to his words. After endless bowls of rice, the other contestants stare, overwhelmed, dubbing Rintaro and Kirimi hungry monsters. Intimidated by their pace and stamina, some give up mid-round. When it ends, several participants vow never to eat rice again, and some even claim they're switching to bread. The host announces the results, and Team Rintaro places third. Second goes to Yuu's family, while the first is claimed by a massive sumo wrestler who looks like he's one of Luffy's enemies. Nano identifies him as the food-fighting Yokozuna, and Rintaro begins to panic at the idea of facing someone like that. Next comes the first official round, a boba tea drinking contest. Rintaro instantly feels sick at the thought, prompting Hahari to comfort him. Kirimi steps up to volunteer, thinking her team won't matter much since they don't look like they can eat, and Shizuka joins her. As the round begins, Kirimi and the other contestants dive in. Minutes pass, and most start struggling with the repetitive chewing of the tapioca. But Shizuka keeps going, her small mouth working fast like a squirrel. Rintaro watches, recalling how quick she is during lunch, and realizes that this kind of challenge is her specialty. Thanks to their efforts, Rintaro's team finishes second. The second round is a sushi eating contest. Nano and Kirimi step in, and the Yokozuna dominates early, but the crowd is stunned when Nano starts swallowing her sushi whole. As the round nears its end, Nano realizes she can't keep up unless she activates her survival instincts. So, she runs to the highest stairs at the festival, pretending she's about to fall, mentally triggering her fear response. With adrenaline rushing, she returns and forces down her final sushi piece. Fans watch in awe as she looks like Rapunzel on a tower, eating with elegance and desperation. When the dust settles, Rintaro's team remains in second place behind the Yokozuna. Round 3 brings a spicy food challenge. Kirimi, Karen, and Kuzuri take the stage, and Kuzuri shocks everyone with her insane spice tolerance, breezing through the round like it's nothing. In round 4, it's a cake-eating showdown. Hahari, and Kirimi step in. The team starts strong but falters when Hahari suddenly stops, warning that too much sugar might make them fat. Kirimi is unimpressed by their retreat, so she shouts that eating cake will make their melons and cake bigger, a motive that fires up both Hahari and Hahari. Wanting to impress Rintaro, they return to the fray, shoveling down cake with newfound energy. After 4 intense rounds, Rintaro's team is still holding second place behind the Yokozuna. Some contestants start accusing them of copying, but Rintaro defends his group, saying their strength comes from the power of love. Kirimi, still uneasy around the others, finds their behavior childish. Then comes the final round, a ramen eating contest. Midway through, one contestant becomes ill, and her teammate helps her out before it escalates to a trip to the hospital. Now, it's Kirimi versus the Yokozuna. But there's a twist. The Yokozuna is actually cheating, hiding his real body in a food tank. He consumes food easily, while Kirimi begins to slow down. She realizes she made a mistake by not trusting her team earlier. Tears fall as she starts to break down, but then her teammates return, choosing to help her finish the battle. When she asks why they're helping, they tell her they've come to see her as a friend. Encouraged, Kirimi pushes through. Eventually, the Yokozuna's food tank reaches capacity, forcing him to eat for real. With both competitors nearing their limit, they reach the final bowl. Rintaro whispers to Kirimi, asking her to feed it to him. Empowered by his words, Kirimi feeds him the final mouthful. The Yokozuna attempts to finish his, but his body rejects it, and he throws up, while Rintaro swallows his bite successfully, securing the win. Rintaro and his girlfriends are declared champions of the Food Fight Festival, and with gelato as their prize, they gather around, sampling different flavors and sharing with each other. For the first time, Kirumi feels truly part of the group. After the festival, Kirumi asks Rentaro to meet her alone. Kirumi apologizes for her earlier attitude, and in a touching moment, the others share their gelato with her, signaling forgiveness. Later, she thanks Rentaro for helping her bond with the group. Then, she finally takes the dessert she wanted the most, a kiss from Rentaro. When Hakari was just a little jit, she saw her mother, Hahari, as the picture of elegance, a graceful and refined mother who teaches her about manners and the ways of royalty. But now, Hakari feels nothing but embarrassment seeing that Hahari has transformed into a clingy, overly affectionate woman, even going as far as making toddler outfits for Rentaro and his girlfriends to try on. Rentaro, naturally, gets excited at the idea, but Hahari stops him, saying they must wait for Kuzuri's part. Kuzuri then reveals her newest invention, a potion that turns people into babies, and another to turn them back. Karen is immediately unimpressed, especially when Kuzuri insists the experiment is completely safe. Kirumi and Karen yell at her, calling the idea reckless, and both firmly decline. Hahari, devastated, collapses onto the floor and starts bawling like a toddler. Hakari is mortified and scolds her mother, saying she never considers how Hakari feels. Hahari apologizes tearfully, explaining that she simply misses the days when Hakari was a baby, and she just wants to feel like a mom again. But no matter what, Hakari will always be her one and only daughter. Hakari fumes, unimpressed by the excuse. Rentaro steps in to comfort her, but Kuzuri, attempting to break the tension, spots a cat nearby and tosses the potion at it playfully. The cat darts away, and instead, the potion splashes across Kirumi, Nano, Shizuka, Kuzuri, Karen, and Hahari, turning them all into babies. The girls are all exposed, so Rentaro, being a gentleman, immediately shields them. He and Hakari quickly dress them in the toddler outfits she had made. Blushing, Hakari realizes they now look like a married couple raising kids. Jokingly, she says maybe they should make Rentaro juniors for real, just to capture the feeling. Rentaro, meanwhile, is doing his best to hold it together. But the baby versions of his girlfriends are too cute, and he can't help but tickle each one. When Shizuka scurries over, she bolts away the moment he reaches for her, as he looks almost like a titan that's about to eat her. He manages to catch her before she bumps into something, only for Nano to try opening a nearby door, but Rentaro grabs them both. Kuzuri attempts to drink the reversal potion, but Rentaro stops her, after she reminded him that they must wait a few hours, and taking it too early could be fatal. Suddenly, Hakari screams that Kirumi is trying to milk her. Kirumi and Karen are fighting over Hakari's chest, wanting to nurse like real babies. Hakari pleads with them to stop, which makes them cry, thinking she's mad. As she tries to soothe them, Hahari, now a baby, crawls up behind her and yanks her hair. Hakari quickly realizes motherhood is not as easy as it looks, and feeling overwhelmed, she loses control and accidentally flings Kirumi and Karen into the air. But thankfully, Rentaro catches both, injuring his face in the process. The babies laugh at his pain, so to keep them entertained, Rentaro starts sliding across the floor and purposefully hurting himself to make them laugh, which works. Eventually, after hours of chaos and play, the babies tire out and fall asleep. Lying on the floor, battered and bruised, Rentaro winces as Hakari tends to his wounds. Together, they sit with the sleeping babies, admiring their cuteness. Holding Nano in his arms, Rentaro reflects on Hahari's experience, as raising a child from an early age must have been incredibly difficult. Hakari quietly remembers wanting to talk to her mom more as a kid, and she realizes just how much Hahari must have struggled. Hahari, still in baby form, tells Rentaro that Hakari is her shining light, making Hakari tear up. Finally, the waiting period ends, and Rentaro and Hakari use the reversal potion. Everyone returns to their normal selves, though Hahari immediately bursts into tears again, begging to see them all as babies once more, and Kuzuri suspects Hahari's mental state hasn't caught up yet. Then, Hakari turns to Hahari and apologizes for judging her so harshly, as she now understands that Hahari didn't become clingy for no reason, but it was because of Rentaro. Still, she tells her mother to be herself, because she loves and respects her just the way she is. They embrace, and just as the moment turns heartfelt, Kuzuri ruins it by revealing she still has some potion left, and immediately, Hahari demands that they use it. Later, during lunch break, Hakari compliments Kurumi's eyes while she's eating. That sparks a round of compliments among the group, with everyone praising each other's eyes, except Karen, who gets teased by Kuzuri. Rentaro agrees with all the compliments, chiming in like a supportive boyfriend. Hahari then mentions her maid, Mei, and how beautiful her eyes are, though no one's ever seen them, since Mei always keeps them closed. Curious, Shizuka asks if Hahari has ever seen Mei's eye color, and Hahari says they're rainbow-colored. Kuzuri gets excited and urges Mei to open them, but Mei explains that she took an oath to always smile and appear content for her mistress, and so she never opens her eyes. But Hahari gives her permission to make an exception, as she herself has never seen them either. Mei tries, but her face refuses to cooperate. Ashamed, she even suggests cutting her eyelids open to comply, but Hahari panics and stops her, insisting that's going too far. Mei calms down and resumes her usual expression, prompting Hahari to comment on how terrifying her loyalty can be. To test that loyalty, Kuzuri casually asks if she'd take cyanide for Hahari, and Mei answers that she would without hesitation. Kurumi wonders how Mei navigates with her eyes shut, and Mei replies that she can't see at all, as she relies solely on sound and instinct. Right then, a flower pot falls from above, headed straight for Rentaro. Mei catches it without looking, stunning everyone with her sharp senses. Intrigued, the group brainstorms ways to make her open her eyes. Shizuka tries using her cuteness to startle her, but only ends up startling Hahari instead. Kurumi tries feeding Mei bread, but Mei eats the bread and shows no reaction. Hakari suspects Kurumi laced it with wasabi, but Kurumi says she just assumed eating would make someone open their eyes, since that's what happens to her. Frustrated, Nano tries to stab Mei in the gut. Mei pretends to be dying but still doesn't open her eyes, and Nano is both impressed and disturbed. Hakari and Rentaro then ask what makes Mei happy, and she answers that what makes Hahari happy makes her happy. Hakari, jokingly, tells Karen to kiss Hahari, and Hahari is all too eager. Just before they lock lips, Hakari shoves Karen aside, not trusting her to actually go through with it. Rentaro, still baffled, wonders what it'll take to make Mei open her eyes. Determined, he tries making her laugh. He tells her a great joke about how Gojo creams every time he uses Infinity, and Mei giggles, but then Rentaro delivers the punchline, revealing how it was Hahari who made that joke. Suddenly, her eyes burst open, rainbow-colored and glowing. The entire group gasps in awe, and in that instant, Mei zings with Rentaro. He explains the plan and how he knew it would work. Mei blushes, and Hahari teases her about falling for Rentaro. Mei, regaining composure, declares she must decline his affection, as she's Hahari's maid, after all. But Hahari tells her it's okay to follow her heart, and the others cheer, hoping she'll become a part of Rentaro's baby mamas. Mei accepts the invitation and formally asks Rentaro out. He stammers, nervous, especially when Mei whispers that she's happy to be his concubine. Some days later, Mei arrives at Rentaro's house to pick him up for their date. Standing beside her, Rentaro blushes, overwhelmed by how composed she appears. Mei drives them to an undisclosed location, and Rentaro silently thanks Hahari for giving him this golden opportunity to get to know Mei better, and he's determined not to waste it. Before their date, Hahari had enthusiastically given Mei a piece of advice, and that was to be Rentaro's maid for the day. As Rentaro sits in the back seat, he thinks about how to make the most of their time together. He figures the best way to start is by asking about Mei's hobbies, hoping to plan something she'll enjoy. When he brings it up, Mei replies sincerely that her only true love is Hahari. Then, after a brief pause, she admits she also loves Rentaro. Suddenly, Mei turns the car toward Hahari's mansion, only to veer back onto another road mid-confession. Trying to steer the conversation back on track, he asks about her favorite food or places, but Mei struggles to answer, as her only passion is making Hahari happy. With no clear idea of what Mei likes, Rentaro takes her to a scenic cherry blossom park. They're both mesmerized by the view, and Rentaro asks if they can have lunch together, but Mei insists he shouldn't ask her what she wants, as he should command her. Not wanting to spend the entire day being waited on, Rentaro gets clever. He says he's starving and orders her to cook something. Mei's eyes light up, and she pulls out a bento box she had prepared that morning, excited for the moment. Rintaro eats without hesitation and finds the meal delicious. After lunch, Mei grows visibly restless, and she confesses that she's uncomfortable unless she's fulfilling a command. Any other guy might take advantage of her, but Rintaro, being a respectful king, gives her a simple order to pick a sakura branch. Mei complies, but as she returns with the branch, Rintaro starts to feel uneasy, as it's like he's treating her like a dog. To shift the dynamic, he commands her to throw the branch so he can fetch it. He thinks this will balance things out, but Mei disagrees. She stops him and asks for a command that genuinely pleases him, something with real meaning. Rintaro pauses, then asks about her real self. Mei opens up, revealing she once lived in poverty, and her deepest desire has always been to bring happiness to Hahari, and now to Rintaro, no matter the cost. Moved, Rintaro gives her a new command not to please him. Without hesitation, she obeys. They sit quietly together, and Rintaro tells her that even the way she sits makes him happy, because it's cute. When Mei stands up, he comments again that she's still pleasing him. Mei, flustered, tries to get away, hiding behind trees and standing behind him, but everything she does just makes her more endearing. Overwhelmed, Mei abruptly drives back to Hahari's mansion. Surprised to see her return so soon, Hahari welcomes her back, but shortly after, Rintaro calls, asking Hahari to check on Mei. He tells Mei he's still thinking about her, which means she's pleasing him. Frustrated, Mei laments that no matter what she does, she can't seem to fulfill Rintaro's order, and Hahari comforts her, gently encouraging her to go back and try again. Mei returns to the park, and Rintaro welcomes her back warmly, saying he understands how hard this is for her. Mei, in desperation, proposes an extreme solution, which is to end her life to fulfill his order. Rintaro, firmly but compassionately, tells her that's not the answer, and he urges her to live, not just for others, but for herself. Touched, Mei remembers a cold night when Hahari saved her and told her that as long as she's alive, her life has value. Rintaro looks into her eyes and asks her to become his girlfriend. Mei teases him, asking if that's a command. He smiles and clarifies that it can be, but only if she follows it as his girlfriend, not his maid. Mei accepts. Later, Rintaro brings Mei to the school rooftop to formally introduce her as the newest member of the family. He asks everyone for their blessing. Nano and Karen exchange glances, as they've seen this speech before, while Kuzuri and Hahari cheer enthusiastically. Hahari then suggests everyone wear maid costumes to bond with Mei, and Karen protests, but changes her tone when she sees Rintaro blush at the idea. Suddenly, she's on board. Soon, the entire group is dressed in matching maid outfits, and the girls chatter about how clean and layered the uniforms are. Hahari takes it a step further and proposes a maid costume battle, a water war, and the winner gets to kiss Rintaro. As the battle begins, Hikari and the others fangirl over Rintaro's appearance. Karen immediately targets Mei, but Mei dodges every move using incredible agility and maid-like reflexes. Karen dodges in return until she gets stuck, and Kuzuri seizes the opportunity and drenches her, knocking her out. Kuzuri celebrates her victory, only to be soaked moments later by Nano. Hahari snaps photos of them mid-splash and labels the shots, "Super Soaked Wet Maids." Kirimi attempts to spray Hahari but gets distracted by a tossed piece of bread. As she munches it, Hahari splashes her with water. Nano then goes after Hahari, but Mei intercepts her. The two engage in a dramatic water gun standoff until Nano shifts targets and sprays Shizuka instead. Startled, Shizuka sprays wildly, soaking Nano and accidentally hitting herself, resulting in both being eliminated. Everyone claps in admiration, as Shizuka may be shy, but she's impressive when she tries. Only Mei, Hahari, and Hikari remain. Hikari puts her water gun to Hahari's head and orders Mei to eliminate herself. But Hahari refuses to stay still and eliminates herself first, giving an opening for Mei to spray Hikari, which gives her the win. Instead of celebrating, Mei rushes to check on Hahari, and the ever-dramatic mother transfers some of her soaked water onto Mei, getting her wet too.
What do you mean by that?
Rintaro declares everyone the winner, and the group shares hugs and kisses. Mei finally kisses Rintaro, making Hahari beam with pride, and by the end of the game, everyone is drenched, including Rintaro, which, much to the girls' delight, makes it look like he's a pro box muncher. Days later, Hahari steps onto the weight scale and is shocked to see she's gained weight. The rest of Rintero's girlfriends also realize they've put on a few pounds after the food fight festival, except for Kirimi and Mei, as Kirimi's fast metabolism keeps her unchanged, and Mei didn't participate in the event. Faced with their worst nightmare, the girls organize a top-secret training session after school. Rintero watches, impressed by their determination. While observing them, he spots a fellow student, Ikkyu, tirelessly promoting the girls' baseball team, asking passing students to join. As her eyes meet Rintero's, something electric passes between them, a zing. Ikkyu immediately feels flustered and, in an attempt to shake it off, asks Rintero to join the team. He blurts out that he's a guy, and she already knows that, but she doesn't want him to walk away, as something about him stirs unfamiliar feelings inside her. They exchange names and discover their classrooms are next to each other. Ikkyu tells him there's a practice game next weekend, and if they don't win, the girls' baseball team will be disbanded. Ikkyu explains she's the last remaining member, as the others left after failing to win the national championship and now aim to study baseball overseas, where it all began. But Ikkyu stayed behind, determined to rebuild the team. Rintero doubts what she can do alone, but her resolve is unshakable, and she refuses to give up, even if it's impossible. Her passion stuns him, and she tells him that she arrives at school early every day to promote the team. Then, she begins swinging her bat, counting each swing aloud. Rintero is shocked seeing that she's done thousands, but she tells him that the more pain she endures, the stronger she becomes. Suddenly, she collapses from exhaustion, and Rintero catches her, worried. He urges her not to overdo it and offers to help. So they head to the baseball field for practice, and while Rintero pitches, Ikkyu catches every ball, straining herself with each one. Despite the pain, she's thankful for his help. After practice, Ikkyu massages Rintero's foot in the school shed, and Rintero appreciates it after he'd twisted his ankle earlier. Ikkyu says she had a great time with him today, and seeing her love for the game, Rintero promises to keep supporting her and begins seriously thinking about saving the girls' baseball team. The next day, Ikkyu walks through the school halls, heart fluttering as she thinks about Rintero. She's excited to see him again and realizes she's fallen in love for the first time. But just then, she sees Rintero walking hand in hand with Nano, and her heart breaks. After school, she finds him at the field. She stands in silence before suddenly asking him to go out with her. Gently, Rintero declines, and he explains that he already has many girlfriends, and taking on another might hurt them all. Ikkyu listens quietly, heartbroken but strangely pleasured by the ache. Suddenly, Rintero vomits blood, and he confesses that he only pretended to reject her, which stuns Ikkyu. Rintero vows to support all his girlfriends, even if he can't make everyone happy all the time, and he admires Ikkyu's passion and wants to help her realize her dream. He brings her to the school rooftop to meet the others and asks for their blessing to include Ikkyu in their family.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Ikkyu, self-conscious, asks them to spank her, as she feels unworthy and not as beautiful as they are. The girls accept her with open arms. Kyuzuri grabs a bat and gives Ikkyu a playful smack, welcoming her. As the girls bond, Rintero shares Ikkyu's mission to save the girls' baseball team. Hikari urges Hahari to help, but Hahari refuses, saying she can't risk her public image by misusing her power as chairman. Ikkyu promises to find another way, and Hikari turns to Rintero and asks what he will do. He swears to support Ikkyu during her games, and inspired by Rintero's attention, Hikari, Nano, Karen, Shizuka, Kyuzuri, and Ikkyu all agree to join the team. Training begins, and Hahari tries to throw a ball, but her honka-donkas keeps getting in the way. Kyuzuri uses multiple bats just because they look cool, while Karen swings hers like a weapon. Realizing they've got a long way to go, Rintero and Ikkyu start teaching them the basics, and they train late into the night, focusing on strength and form. As fatigue sets in, Ikkyu tells Rintero to take the others home, as she'll keep training alone. But the next morning, the girls arrive sore, only to find Ikkyu still at the field, practicing non-stop. Before they can reach her, she collapses. Rintero rushes her to the nurse's office, and when she wakes up, he comforts her and promises to stand watch outside the nurse's bathroom. But Ikkyu insists on returning to the field, and she shouts that she needs to prove she belongs with them. That night, they resume training. Rintaro contemplates a plan to help her, but suddenly, Hahari appears and reveals that she'd secretly recorded Rintaro and Ikkyu's earlier conversation. She plays it back for the others, and feeling moved, the girls rally around Ikkyu. They tell her they believe in her dream, and together, they vow to follow her lead and fight to bring the girls' baseball team back to greatness. Then, the day of the baseball match finally arrives, and the Rintaro family gears up for the big match. Meanwhile, on the other team, the coach fires up her players by promising a barbecue after practice. The incentive works, as they're pumped and ready. The match kicks off. Ikkyu takes the pitcher's mound, with Hahari behind the plate as catcher. Ikkyu quickly proves herself as the team's ace, catching the eye of Reppuko, the rival team's powerhouse. Ikkyu strikes out the first batter, but Reppuko isn't impressed, as she knows Ikkyu lacks offensive firepower. When the opposing team switches to defense, Karen steps up to bat. Saruko, Reppuko's pitching partner, throws with such raw strength that even though Karen connects, her bat snaps in half. Stunned, Karen is mocked by Reppuko, who brags about her unbeatable duo with Saruko. Karen plays it cool, saying she doesn't care about the game, but after 2 more strikes, her frustration starts to show. Next up is Ikkyu, now at bat. Reppuko's been waiting for this moment. On the sidelines, Kanoko and Oko, 2 adorable benchwarmers, get loud cheers just for being cute. Distracted, Ikkyu misses her first swing. The second strike follows as she remains shaken, drawing a smug laugh from Reppuko. But suddenly, something shifts in Ikkyu. She finds her resolve. Alarmed, Reppuko tells Saruko to use her signature pitch. Ikkyu swings and makes contact. But the force of Saruko's pitch is so brutal that Ikkyu injures her hand. Reppuko smirks, satisfied that Ikkyu can no longer pitch. As Ikkyu cries out, Rintaro and the rest of the girls rush to her side. With Ikkyu hurt, Nano steps in to pitch. The sudden change throws Rintaro's team into chaos. Their offense and defense both collapse. Frustrated, Kirimi throws her cap to the ground, while Kusuri realizes the harsh truth that they're up against real athletes, and they don't know how to win. Ikkyu blames herself, but Mei and Rintaro comfort her, urging her to relax. Rintaro gathers the team and gives them a passionate pep talk to lift their spirits. Meanwhile, Reppuko and her team laugh, confident in their dominance. Reppuko targets Shizuka next, convinced she's the weakest link. She hits safely, then taunts Shizuka, blaming her for dragging the team down. Crushed, Shizuka botches the next play, allowing the other team to score more points. Overwhelmed with guilt, she breaks down in tears, apologizing for being useless. Kusuri tells everyone that it was Reppuko's cruel words that shattered Shizuka's spirit, and because of that, the team's frustration turns into a thirst for revenge. When Reppuko tries to mock Karen about Shizuka, Karen responds with a vengeance, smashing a home run off Saruko's signature pitch, stunning Reppuko. One by one, the rest of the team follows suit, revealing Rintaro's new strategy: just hit the ball any way they can. Fueled by determination, the team fights back. Then, Ikkyu re-enters the game, claiming her hand has been healed. Kusuri, during a run, shrinks back to her normal size mid-sprint to dodge a tag and scores. The other team cries foul, accusing her of doping, but Kusuri explains it's not a performance enhancer, and the referee allows it. Next is Hahari. She hits the ball just as Rintaro planned, but slips on the way to the base, as her massive honkers knock her off balance. Just before she's called out, her assets land on the base, and she's ruled safe. The team bursts into cheers, celebrating Hahari and her big milkers for saving the game. Then comes Shizuka. Holding the bat completely wrong, she hesitates, but Rintaro cheers her on, reminding her that trying is what counts. The pitch comes, and she doesn't swing, but the ball hits the bat anyway. She runs with her tiny legs, and the first baseman freezes, as Shizuka reminds him of his beloved cat. Tears well up in his eyes, and instead of tagging her, he hugs her. Ikkyu steps up for the final turn, and Reppuko starts to panic. Ikkyu confesses to Rintaro that she once hit a home run so hard it gave a girl a concussion, and ever since, she's been afraid to swing. She lets the first 2 pitches pass. Then, on the third, Rintaro yells from the outfield, promising to catch the ball so no one gets hurt. With renewed confidence, Ikkyu swings. The pitch is powerful enough that it rips Ikkyu's clothes, but she powers through and launches a home run. Rintaro catches the ball, and the brutal force tears his clothes too. The crowd goes wild. Rintaro's team wins on the final strike, and Ikkyu runs to him, now wearing nothing but her last line of plot protectors. She then leans in and kisses him, a thank you for believing in her. Days later, Rintaro and his girlfriends spend their day off together, enjoying some much-needed downtime. As they walk, a striking blonde girl passes by, catching everyone's eye. Rintaro glances at her, but she doesn't return the look, so in his mind, they aren't soulmates. Looking for something fun to do, the group heads to the nearest karaoke spot. Karen and Hakari go first, belting out their favorite songs. Rintaro cheers them on, calling them adorable. When Ikkyu takes the mic, her smooth, confident voice earns his praise, and he calls her a real operator. Hahari sings next, her sultry tone making Rintaro blush. Then it's Nano's turn, and her singing is flat and monotone, but Rintaro still compliments her, wanting to keep things fair between them all. Then, Shizuka hesitates, overwhelmed by the sheer number of songs to choose from. Instead of singing, she quietly slips away to grab a drink. As she stands to the side, she hums softly to herself. Rintaro hears her gentle singing and approaches, offering a warm thank you and saying he's truly glad she came along. Shizuka admits she's scared to sing in front of everyone, and Rintaro reassures her that karaoke isn't about perfection, it's about fun. To give her space, he gently steps back, careful not to pressure her. As the group relaxes in the booth, Kuzuri casually reveals she secretly took a potion to boost her cuteness, explaining why she's been getting so much attention. Then, finally, Shizuka raises her hand, as she's found her courage. Everyone cheers as she starts to sing in an irresistibly cute, little girl voice. Hahari and Rintaro are instantly floored by the overwhelming sweetness. Nano and the others brace themselves, but Shizuka keeps singing, nearly knocking them out with her charm. Ikkyu even considers hitting her with a bat to end the chaos. But Nano grabs it first and knocks Ikkyu out instead, and oddly, Ikkyu screams hard because of it. Nano does her best to endure, but Shizuka's voice proves too much. With Hahari down for the count, Mei steps forward to protect the others. But when she sees Shizuka through Hahari's eyes, full of innocence and childlike wonder, she too is blown away by the cuteness. Hakari and Karen are the last ones standing. Shizuka's second wave hits and Karen drops. A third wave crashes through, and Hakari goes down too. Everyone collapses, but Rintaro rises alone, determined to shield Shizuka from seeing her friends unconscious. He believes that if a boyfriend makes his girlfriend feel like a burden, he isn't a real boyfriend. Thinking fast, he comes up with a solution, which is to sing a duet with Shizuka, hoping to absorb and redirect her cuteness. It works for a moment. But when the others catch sight of the two singing together, the combined cuteness proves too much and blasts them clean out of the building, and Rintaro immediately rushes to their rescue. Later that day, Rintaro stops by a fountain and reflects on everything that happened. Suddenly, the blonde girl from earlier appears and confronts him. She introduces herself as Mimimi and asks if she's so beautiful that he dared to look at her. To Rintaro's shock, they zing, proving they're soulmates. Stunned, Rintaro listens as Mimimi says she doesn't mind dating him. She hands him a pass to come see her and properly introduces herself as a senior at his school. With a confident smile, she flaunts her beauty and pushes him into a nearby clothing store, determined to make him match her style. She outfits him with red contacts, a silver wig, and an all-white ensemble, eerily similar to Nano's. Mimimi insists on paying, proudly stating she's not afraid to invest in beauty. Rintaro wants to cover his own costs, but his wallet's empty, as juggling 9 different girlfriends has drained his funds. They head to a cafe to get to know each other better, and Mimimi offers a beauty tip that chewing tapioca helps tone the facial muscles. Rintaro offers her a sip of his drink, but she politely declines, saying that it doesn't fit her health plan. He notices people staring at them, and Mimimi explains that it's their beautiful aura drawing envy. Just then, a nearby couple starts loudly trash-talking them, claiming their looks are just the result of money. Rintaro is ready to speak up, but Mimimi responds with calm elegance. She says her beauty isn't bought, but it's earned after she dedicated time and energy to self-care and learning grace, and Rintaro is awed by her queen-like confidence. Suddenly, the angry boyfriend approaches, spilling his boba tea in Mimimi's direction. But Rentaro blocks it with his jacket. Calm and unbothered by the stains, he stands tall. Security quickly intervenes, and the guy tries to run, only to slip on his own spilled drink. But before he hits the ground, Rentaro catches him, saving his favorite shirt. The boyfriend is stunned, and Rentaro simply explains that he understands how he's only trying to protect his girlfriend. The man tears up, touched by Rentaro's kindness. Rentaro apologizes to Mimimi for ruining the outfit she bought, and her heart softens at his selfless act. Opening up, Mimimi reveals that she once faced painful rejection, and is afraid Rentaro might reject her too. Then, nervously, she confesses her feelings. Rentaro smiles and happily accepts her as his new girlfriend. Mimimi lights up. But when Rentaro tells her he already has 9 girlfriends, she becomes even more excited, thrilled to be the 10th, which is a perfect number. She explains that she once lost her title as the school's most beautiful girl and has been striving to reclaim it ever since. Just then, Nano and Shizuka appear, saying they've just come from the bookstore. Rentaro introduces them to Mimimi. But Mimimi immediately points at Nano, as she's the one who dethroned her. Rentaro panics, realizing how complicated things have become. Later, Mimimi declares that she can't join the family while Nano's part of it, unless they settle things properly. She challenges Nano to a beauty contest, and the loser must leave the group. Rentaro expects Nano to decline, but to his surprise, Nano, always the competitor, accepts the challenge without hesitation. Years ago, Mimimi entered a beauty contest held by the school. Confident she was going to win, she stood proudly on stage with the other contestants. But when the spotlight fell on Nano, and she was crowned the winner, Mimimi was stunned. Still, she didn't let the loss shake her completely, and she approached Nano and asked to be friends. But Nano coldly replied that friendship was meaningless and a waste of time. She added that she didn't even mean to enter the contest, she won it by accident, and she couldn't care less about the result. Now, years later, Mimimi challenges Nano to a rematch, a beauty showdown. She initiates what she calls a beauty search, but Karen interrupts, confused about what's going on. Mimimi explains that it's a face-off where each contestant must describe the beauty of an Rentaro family member. Both Nano and Mimimi take turns judging, while Rentaro himself decides who gives the better description. The contest spans 9 rounds, and the one with the most points wins. For the first round, Mimimi chooses Karen as the subject. She praises Karen's straightforward beauty and earns a point. Nano counters by highlighting Karen's almond-shaped eyes and scores a point as well. The rounds continue. They describe Hakari as a classic busty schoolgirl, Hahari for her graceful maturity, and Ikyu for her athletic charm. Nano pulls ahead, winning 4 rounds in a row and seemingly on track to win the entire match. Hakari believes the 8th round, featuring the adorable Shizuka, will seal Mimimi's fate. But to everyone's surprise, Nano stumbles. She describes Shizuka as cute, not beautiful, and Rentaro disqualifies the point since it's a beauty contest. Mimimi seizes the opportunity and wins the round. The final round becomes the decider, and both girls must describe Rentaro himself. Mei steps in as the impartial judge, declaring she'll be fair or perish trying. Mimimi goes first, praising Rentaro's thick eyebrows and scoring a point. But Rentaro tells Mei to double-check, seeing that Rentaro had shaved off his eyebrows, making Mimimi's description inaccurate. Nano follows up by admiring Rentaro's perfectly ironed school uniform. But before the point is granted, Rentaro tears his uniform apart, disqualifying her as well. Frustrated, both girls scramble to describe him from head to toe. But Mei refuses to award any points as Rentaro continues sabotaging his appearance by shaving, destroying his clothes, and goofing off, making it impossible for either girl to win. When the round ends, Rentaro declares a draw, and no one is getting evicted. Standing there, plain and disheveled, Rentaro is admired by the others for being willing to sacrifice his own beauty for their sake. Feeling defeated, Mimimi decides to remove herself from the family to let Nano stay. But Nano stops her. She tells Mimimi that since meeting Rentaro and the others, she's changed, and she finally cares. Nano apologizes for her coldness back at the beauty contest and admits she ruined Mimimi's feelings. She reaches out and asks to be friends. Mimimi is speechless, as she's finally become friends with the beautiful Nano. Then she reveals a long-kept secret that she's the one who entered Nano into that beauty contest because she had wanted them to become a beautiful duo. But Nano's distant attitude had crushed that dream. Mimimi tells her it might be too late for friendship, unless Nano admits that Mimimi is the prettiest one. Nano, calm as ever, says she never thought of Mimimi as pretty or beautiful, but she just genuinely wants to be her friend now. A few days later, Rintaro recovers and asks his girlfriends if they'll allow Mimimi to officially join the family. With bold confidence, Mimimi promises they'll be lucky to have her, because she can make them even more beautiful. Kuzuri immediately perks up and asks Mimimi to do her makeup. Mimimi opens her kit and gives Kuzuri a glamorous makeover. The transformation is stunning, and Rintaro blushes just looking at her. Overjoyed, Kuzuri kisses him, surprising Mimimi. Rintaro explains that kissing is common in their family, and that sparks an idea in Mimimi that maybe kissing really does increase beauty through hormones. Kuzuri jumps in, revealing she's developed a special aphrodisiac lip balm that enhances beauty-related hormones when activated by kissing. All the girls apply it, and Nano steps up first. When she kisses Rintaro, both feel a wave of hormonal energy so intense that Nano collapses, feeling weak in the knees. And Rintaro feels it too. Excited, Kuzuri kisses him again and describes how amazing it feels down under, causing Hakari to smirk. Mei kisses Rintaro next, overwhelmed by the delicious sensation. Hahari follows, and the rush is so strong she rips off her uniform, revealing her plot covers. Iku's kiss leaves her legs wobbling, tearing up both a CL from the sensation. Karen pretends she doesn't want to kiss, but she used the lip balm too. Without pretense, she kisses Rintaro and hugs him tightly, hormones making her lose control. Rintaro falls from the impact, and Kurumi helps him up. Her stomach growls, but Rintaro lifts her chin and kisses her anyway. When Shizuka kisses him, she literally floats in place. Then, Hakari goes next. Her nose bleeds, her vision blurs, and she accidentally kisses Karen instead. The two are left stunned while Hahari snaps a photo. Finally, Mimimi takes her turn. She waited to be last. Up close, Rintaro sees her beauty more clearly than ever. Their kiss sends a surge of hormones through Mimimi like never before, and she creams harder than a creme brulee made by Mia Khalifa's love juice. Mimimi declares they all need to keep kissing Rintaro if they want to reach new levels of beauty. By noon, they stop, and every girl feels more beautiful, except Rintaro, who has been kissed so many times, he's practically become a living Greek statue.
Yeah, boy.
Meanwhile, a group of scientists uncovers a dramatic decline in solar activity, triggering strange and unpredictable weather patterns. One scientist points out an unusual phenomenon of how cherry blossoms bloom long after New Year's. They eventually realize that the Earth is on the brink of a new ice age, just months away. Meanwhile, in Rintaro's room, he watches the alarming news on his phone, worry spreading across his face. Later, on the school rooftop, his girlfriends confront him about his uncharacteristic silence. Rintaro insists everything's fine, but Kuzuri isn't convinced. She yanks on his hair, revealing it hasn't grown back, and he's been wearing a wig and glued on eyebrows ever since the beauty search contest. Kuzuri says she's made a hair growth potion, but Rintaro refuses, determined to let it grow back naturally. Hahari immediately jumps in, announcing that from now on, Rintaro's hair will be styled daily by all his girlfriends. Kurumi groans at the idea and sarcastically calls Hahari lady, prompting Hahari to beg her to say mommy like everyone else. Kurumi is thoroughly creeped out. Then, Mei styles Mimimi's hair. Miraculously, as he looks at all his girlfriends watching him, his hair starts to grow back.
Magic.
Hahari, overwhelmed by how cute he looks, starts drooling, then something clicks. She snatches Kuzuri's hair potion and drinks it herself, and her hair immediately forms a massive cocoon. Kuzuri panics, warning everyone to run, as Hahari's hair is about to grow out of control and become dangerous. Just as Mei tries to rescue Hahari from the cocoon, a surge of hair lashes out. Rintaro steps in and takes a hit to his ankle. Mei apologizes and carries him inside. Kuzuri explains that the potion has connected Hahari's brain to her hair, amplifying its power and allowing her subconscious to control it. She suspects the hair is now following Hahari's deepest urges. Kurumi guesses that her urge is to pet cute things, but Hakari, her daughter, corrects her, saying that her mom likes freaky tentacle videos. but no one is surprised, knowing that Hakari takes after her mother. Suddenly, Hahari's hair blasts through the door. Kirimi pushes Mei to safety, but nearly falls down the stairs, only to be caught and gently placed down by the hair. She's relieved to being saved, until the hair places her in a provocative pose. Horrified, the group flees into the hallway, where they run into the freaky vice principal. She joins the chase, but is immediately taken down by the hair. Cornered, Kuzuri gives Shizuka something and rushes into the mass of hair to take responsibility, only to be creamed too. The rest of the group escapes, but the hair snatches Hakari. She grabs Karen's hand but urges her to let go, as she wants to get freaky. They escape, and at the school entrance, they see nearly all the girls caught and tangled in the rogue hair. Mei rushes them to her car, which is tightly packed. Iku, oddly, enjoys the pain of being squished. Mei attempts to drive off, but the hair grips the vehicle. Iku and Karen leap out and push the car free, only to be left behind. Karen, determined, tells Iku to prepare herself, as she wants to launch Iku onto the car roof using her bat. Iku lands on the car's roof, loving the pain, while Karen is swallowed by the hair. Inside the car, Rentaro and the others witness Karen's brave sacrifice. The hair stretches toward the school gate to block them. Iku holds it off long enough for them to escape, taking another tentacle fun in the process. Mei declares they need to get to the rooftop of a nearby building. She drops off Rentaro, Nano, and Mimimi at the entrance. Meanwhile, Kuzuri gives Shizuka a cute enhancing potion to lure the hair away, and the two drive off, becoming a moving distraction. Inside the building, the elevators are jammed with selfish people, who are immediately taken by the hair. Rentaro and his team race up the stairs. When they reach the rooftop, they find the world overtaken by Hahari's wild hair, and even a nearby reporter is struck down. The hair lunges toward Nano and Mimimi, but the two grab a brush and cutter, becoming an impromptu salon team. Nano is impressed by Mimimi's brushing technique, and together they manage to fend off the hair until they're eventually caught. Just then, a helicopter descends. Mei and Shizuka call out to Rentaro to climb aboard. He tries to save Nano and Mimimi, but they insist he go, as it's their sacrifice to make, leaving them creamed like cows. Rentaro asks to be dropped at the heart of the hair's cocoon, as he has a plan. Before leaping out, he promises to save the world. He believes the hair isn't attacking, but it's trying to protect. Inside the cocoon, he's struck and falls into darkness, and a mysterious figure appears, Hakari's father. He tells Rentaro that he's been awakened and urges him to finish the mission. Rentaro awakens before a sleeping Hahari, and with a kiss full of love and emotion, he breaks the control over her mind. Hahari wakes up, crying, horrified by what she's done. Rentaro reassures her, saying it wasn't her fault, and the hair slowly retracts. Then, the hair bursts into space, and Rentaro cuts it off, freeing Hahari and saving the world. Back at Hahari's house, she locks herself in her room, consumed by guilt. Hakari and Mei try to comfort her, but she remains distant. That is, until Rentaro bursts in and shows her the news that no one was harmed, and to their surprise, Hahari's hair saved the world by reigniting the sun and preventing the Ice Age. She breaks down in tears, relieved and grateful. Rentaro reminds her that when he first heard about the Ice Age, he made a vow to save the world for the sake of the girl he loves, saying that a boyfriend who can't protect the world his girlfriend lives in isn't a real boyfriend. One by one, the members of the Rentaro family enter Hahari's room to support her. Moved by their love, Hahari smiles through her tears, proudly declaring herself the mother of the world. Sometime later, Mimimi holds a beauty queen class on the school rooftop for Rentaro's girlfriends. Everyone's thrilled to learn the secret behind Mimimi's eternal beauty, except for Kirimi, who still couldn't care less about looking pretty. Mimimi encourages them, saying Rentaro is looking forward to seeing their results, which only boosts their excitement. Later, when Rentaro gets home, he's moved by how motivated the girls are to become more beautiful for his sake. Feeling he can't fall behind, he decides to go on a light jog. Along the way, he spots Mimi walking ahead. He blushes, as her face is surprisingly captivating. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blows through. Mimi scrambles to protect her bangs, while Rentaro notices a metal sign about to fall on her. He shouts a warning, but Mimi is too focused on her bangs to react, so Rentaro lunges forward, pushing her out of harm's way. He quickly asks if she's okay, and just then, something unexpected happens. He zings with Mimi, catching him completely off guard. Mimi, meanwhile, is in full panic mode over her bangs. She thanks Rintaro for saving her, but he tells her that next time, she should worry about her life before her hairstyle. Mimi explains that she keeps her bangs long to remain anonymous at school, as she's a super introvert. Rintaro suggests she try hiding in a different way, but Mimi admits she's already gone as far as wearing a lucha libre mask. She's surprised Rintaro even noticed her in class, given how hard she tries to blend in, and Rintaro tells her he saw her eyes earlier, which sends her into a flustered panic. As he blinks, she disappears, leaving only her teddy bear behind. The next morning, Rintaro finds a knitted toy and a note from Mimi in his locker, thanking him and revealing she made the toy for him herself. When he tries to talk to her in class, calling her name, she vanishes like a ninja again, dropping another toy. Rintaro picks it up and tries asking his girlfriends about her. They say Mimi's adorable, but then Hikari blurts out that Mimi has a G-cup, repeating it in Karen's small melon face. Rintaro realizes Mimi might be hiding her face and figure out of deep insecurity. He regrets casually calling her cute and searches for her. Knowing her pattern, he calls out from a distance. Mimi hides, but Rintaro apologizes for being insensitive. She admits it's not just shyness, but she's terrified of facing him. Rintaro jokingly offers to gouge out his eyes so she can talk to him comfortably, but she quickly tells him not to. She confesses she's avoiding him because she fell in love with him. Realizing what she just said, Mimi vanishes again. Rintaro runs after her, but she teleports into another classroom. She calls him and explains her diversion tactic, where she drops her toys to distract people while she escapes. She begs him to forget what she said, but Rintaro refuses and encourages her not to give up on her feelings. He confesses his love for her, which prompts Mimi to unleash her ultimate diversion and disappear again, and Rintaro thinks he blew it. Tearfully, he tries to figure out where she might be. Then it clicks that she might be hiding in a blind spot, like directly behind him. He tests the theory, and every time he turns, one of her toys falls to the floor, which confirms that she's close. Eventually, he finds her and gently confronts her. He asks Mimi to be his girlfriend, and she says yes with a bright smile. Rintaro assures her that he loves her just as she is, shy quirks and all. But right then, Mimi's binder rips from all the running, revealing a lot more than expected, and turns out the G-cup rumor was an understatement. Mimi disappears once more, flushed with embarrassment. The next day, Rintaro asks his other girlfriends if Mimi can join the family, and no one objects. Mimi nervously introduces herself and hands each of them her signature knitted toys. The girls find them cute, and Mimi admits she's super shy and has a tendency to vanish. Hikari jokes she couldn't even peek at Mimi's plots because of that, and Hikari warns her she'll end up in jail if she keeps it up.
FBI, open up!
Mimi assures the group that she won't be a burden. Karen finds her politeness admirable and seems ready to challenge her, but Rintaro diffuses the tension by suggesting a game of hide and seek, which is Mimi's specialty. He explains the rules, but Hikari suddenly changes the prize to a kiss from Rintaro. Ikkyu wonders if he'll get tired searching the entire school, but Rintaro boldly says he'll search to the ends of the earth if he has to.
Oh my.
Rintaro begins counting. In the school park, Ikkyu and Mei are hiding up on the ceiling, holding on for dear life. Mei says Hikari ordered her to hide with everything she had, and they both start to enjoy the challenge. Just then, Rintaro strolls beneath them, chatting with the vice principal, which makes them panic. In the storage room, Karen and Hikari are stuffed into a tight space, and Karen's face starts tickling Hikari's thighs. When they can't hold it anymore, they burst out to scare Rintaro, only to get caught and join him in the search. They head to the science lab and hear gentle snores. Inside a cabinet, they find Kusuri and Mimimi peacefully napping. Then, they check the library and spot a large box with books scattered around. Opening it, they discover Nano and Shizuka hiding together. In the canteen, Hikari and Kirumi are hiding under a table. Hikari tells Kirumi it'll work if she stops being so aggressive. When Rintaro walks in, Hikari clings to Kirumi, who, hungry and frustrated, starts nibbling Hikari's melons. Screaming, Hikari bursts out, revealing both of them. Now only Mimi, Ikkyu, and Mei remain. They return to the park, where Nano spots a puddle and glances upward. And there are Mei and Ikkyu, still clinging to the ceiling, soaked in sweat, leaving Mimi the only player left. Back inside, they find the vice principal still delivering a package. Rintaro and Mei grow suspicious. When Rintaro opens the mysterious box, he finds one of Mimi's toys. Then Rintaro notices something unusual about the vice principal's hair. He reaches out and finds Mimi hiding underneath. Kirumi tells her to collect her kiss for winning, but Mimi panics and says she'll disappear again if Rintaro kisses her. The girls joke about tying her up and forcing it, but Mimi insists she can Houdini her way out by dislocating her bones. Rintaro tells them Mimi isn't ready yet, and they should wait for the right moment. As the girls walk ahead, Rintaro stays back with Mimi. Quietly, he kisses her from behind, knowing she'd be too embarrassed to do it in front of everyone. That night, Karen dreams of standing alone in a flower park, waiting for Rintaro. When he finally arrives, she accuses him of not being boyfriend material. But to her shock, Rintaro calmly responds that he's tired of her and leaves her behind. Panicked, Karen regrets what she said and runs after him, only to jolt awake from a dream. Gasping for breath, she stares at her phone wallpaper, a harsh reminder that she feels the most distant from the others. Later that day, after school, Rintaro gathers all his girlfriends on the school rooftop for a surprise. He reveals that he managed to get the viral cookies they've all been craving. The girls are amazed, knowing that those cookies were impossible to get, and feel touched when Rintaro says he put his blood, sweat, and tears into finding them. There are 12 cookies, each a different flavor, and the packaging claims that one partner must gift them to the other. Rintaro smiles, as he bought them with that exact intention. As everyone enjoys the moment, Karen refuses to take one, dismissing the whole thing as stupid. But deep down, she knows she's just being cranky. She watches the others laugh and tease each other over the cookies. Rintaro notices her standing off to the side and walks over, offering her one. Karen responds with her usual snark, but she's aware that her irritation only intensifies the more she falls for him. She watches how effortlessly the others show affection and playfulness, feeling like she doesn't belong there. Hakari teases Karen about being so quiet, joking that maybe Karen's melons are growing and giving her pain. Embarrassed, Karen shoves a cookie into her mouth to shut her up. Still, the sense of isolation lingers, and she wonders if she's incapable of enjoying things the way the others do. Suddenly, Kirumi begins telling a random story about a ramen shop that served her an absurdly large char siu. Meanwhile, Ikkyu and Kuzuri are locked in a sumo match, refereed by Mei. After losing the first round, Kuzuri grabs a potion, but accidentally picks up the tsundere, reversing one and drops it. Karen spots the bottle and, recalling her dream, makes a snap decision. She drinks it, only to be tackled mid-sip by Kuzuri. Everyone braces for an explosion of Karen's rage, but instead, she calmly apologizes. Mei offers to take the blame as referee, but Karen stays composed. Kuzuri, horrified, yells at her for taking it without permission, but Karen just apologizes again. Kuzuri is speechless, as she feels like she's finally beaten Karen. To everyone's surprise, Karen even loses the sumo match. Rintaro starts realizing that Karen's strength and spark came from her tsundere personality. To test it, Ikkyu hands her a bat and asks her to hit her butt. Karen swings gently, far from her usual force. Mimimi asks Karen what she thinks of her appearance, and Karen replies plainly that she's beautiful. The girls begin to miss the old, cranky Karen, and Hakari says she'll support her either way, but will go with the majority. Karen finally confesses that she regrets always acting tsundere and doesn't want to go back. Kuzuri offers to make a reversing potion, and while she works on it, Rintaro takes Karen for a walk. The girls, in secret, admit they preferred the feisty version of Karen, so Rintaro tells Kuzuri to proceed. As Rintaro and Karen stroll hand in hand, Karen opens up, saying things she could never say before. Rintaro tells her he always knew, and that he fell in love with her strong, hard-to-get, tsundere self. He supports her, but if she truly changes, he admits he might not be able to accept it. Karen begins to regret drinking the potion. Hours later, Kuzuri finishes the antidote after 5 small explosions. Karen drinks it and begins to glow. But when the light fades, nothing happens. They all start brainstorming alternatives, and Hahari jokes that Karen's parents would be heartbroken. Karen asks Mimi and Shizuka to compliment her. Mime tries and immediately vanishes from embarrassment. It's late, so Hahari invites Karen to stay over, clearly fantasizing as she drools through her words. At Hahari's house, Rentaro stays too, and Hahari proposes a bath with Karen so they can scrub each other's nether regions. But Rentaro intercepts, vowing to protect Karen's honor, and the two kiss after their usual argument. Later, Rentaro, Hikari, and Karen gather in the guest room. Hikari reminisces about when the three of them first grew close. Rentaro swears he'll bring the old Karen back, and he theorizes that enough compliments might restore her tsundere side. He tells her he loves her. Hikari flinches, expecting a punch, but Karen replies that she loves him too. One by one, they all exchange confessions. Rentaro hugs Karen, and she hugs back, and Hikari joins in, but it's clear the theory isn't working. Hikari then proposes a wild idea that maybe Rentaro should jiggle Karen's jugs. Rentaro pulls out a melon-squeezing gauntlet, much to Hikari's disappointment, and proceeds. Karen enjoys herself in the process, and Hikari demands equal treatment and creams too. Later, Karen and Hikari bathe together. They talk about how Rentaro and the other girls always go out of their way to help Karen, and Hikari reminds her that they saved her from loneliness, and now she wants to return the favor. As the conversation turns soft and vulnerable, Hikari begins squeezing Karen's lemons again, making Karen feel warm and cared for. Outside the bathroom, Hikari collapses from the overwhelming mental imagery. Rentaro and Mei's maid team rush to her aid, and Mei commands the maids to give her blood to revive her. Meanwhile, hearing the laughter and joy coming from the bath, Rentaro holds onto one hope that maybe, just maybe, the old tsundere Karen will come back. The next day, Rentaro gathers everyone and proudly announces that he's found a way to bring back Karen's tsundere attitude. He explains that every human has the ability to produce tsunderes, the very energy Karen once lost. His plan is simple but risky, and that is to collect tsundere energy from the others and transfer it to Karen, like a spirit bomb, with Karen as the Majin Buu. But he warns them that if the energy isn't harmonized properly, Karen could pop. The plan kicks off. Each girl begins acting like a tsundere, saying things like, "It's not like I like you or anything," or "I want to gobble your glizzy not because you asked me to." These repressed confessions release powerful tsundere energy that Rentaro collects, preparing to harmonize it. But the energy is overwhelming. Rentaro nearly collapses under the pressure and finally understands just how powerful Karen must have been to carry this weight and still manage to express her feelings. Moved, he declares his love for Karen and channels all the gathered energy into her. The impact is intense, and Karen is hit like a truck by the surge of emotion. Rentaro tries to rush to her side, but Kuzuri stops him, saying that this is something only Karen can overcome. One by one, the group voices their support, how they miss her yelling, her stubbornness, and the way she tries not to melt when Rentaro kisses her, and their words reach her heart. As the dust clears, Karen rises, and she's back. Everyone celebrates her return, but when Karen calmly thanks them for helping her, they stare in confusion, thinking she's still not herself. She assures them she is, and the group laughs in relief. Later, while Rentaro is away helping someone move a mountain of boxes, the girls reminisce about how he confessed to each of them. They giggle, gossiping about how he tailored his approach differently for everyone. But amid the fun, they realize something, that while Rentaro always told them he loved them, they never truly returned the sentiment. Nano warns them that such one-sided affection could put their relationship at risk. Just then, Rentaro returns, exhausted. Moved by their earlier discussion, Kuzuri steps up. She hugs him sweetly and thanks him for always being her loyal test subject, finally telling him how she loves her, and Rentaro tears up. Next, Nano tells him she loves him for his perfect head pats, making him release more happy tears. Ikkyu steps forward and says she loves him for always giving her powerful backshots with a bat. And Rentaro cries again. Shizuka uses her phone to tell him she loves him for always being gentle with her. Hikari follows, saying she loves his big hands that hold her close and his even bigger pickle. Karen suplexes him on reflex, and after a brief misunderstanding, both girls apologize. Hikari then places his hand on her head. saying she loves him for making her the happiest girl in the world. As Rintaro tries to recover, he stumbles right into Hahari's melons, and she holds him there, grinning, and softly says that she loves him. Mei chimes in next, saying she loves him for teaching her the beauty of give and take, even letting her massage him while he massages her back. Rintaro weeps again and suddenly slips, but Mimimi catches him, whispering that she loves him for having such a beautiful heart. From behind, a doll drops. Mimi appears, shy but determined. Though she often vanishes, she tells him her love will never disappear. She then disappears again, this time leaving a small gift. Kirimi and Karen are the last ones left. Kirimi clenches her fists and steps forward, telling Rintaro she loves him for always giving her delicious food, and that his cream is the flavor she loves best.
You naughty.
Now only Karen remains. Rintaro gently tells her it's okay if she's not ready. But Karen shakes her head. With a fiery blush and trembling voice, Karen says that no matter how aloof or cold she acts, she loves absolutely everything about him. Rintaro, overwhelmed, breaks down once again. But he isn't done, and while the credit starts rolling, Rintaro takes a deep breath and goes full Eminem, listing every little reason he loves each of them, every smile, every laugh, every strange habit. The girls melt one by one, collapsing under the sheer weight of his sincerity, and all 11 of them fall for him again, while 89 more baby mamas are still out there, yet to be found. If you watched this anime recap until the end, comment down 100 baddies and 1 glizzy. If you like anime recaps like this, watch this video.